Chapter 126. The same long week passed by Robin as well. Although it was much quieter in Jura City, it was no less important and no less intense. During the week, Robin did nothing but go out with Mila, have long walks in the city streets, relax in the gardens, visit his favorite restaurant, and also visit his mother's grave. It is like he got tired of the house and didn't want to come back again throughout the whole week. While Zara would have loved to join him, she got busy with her responsibilities towards making talismans for the auction house, cultivating in her free time, and using the soul replenishing technique. To get back the soul power she lost while making the talismans, and of course, teaching the new rune masters on the techniques of strengthening and replenishing the soul. Everything went smoothly and without problems during the 7 days. Jura City gained many new soul power experts. But the 8th day did not pass with the same ease. It was the day of the second obligatory gathering at the conference hall. Today Zara would start giving lectures on how to draw a level 6 fire talisman. But of the 27 who took the oath, only 23 of them attended. One of the Burton's knights went to Robin at Zara's request to tell him what's going on, and his reply was calmer than it should be. "Oh, only 4 did not show up? That is better than I expected. Tell Zara to bring all her students and come over here. And you also call a few guards and get here within the appointed time. We'll be heading out in half an hour." The knight did not understand where they were going, but he nodded and did as he was commanded. In half an hour, Zara and the 23 potential rune masters arrived, and soon a dozen guards of the 10th level also arrived. Robin nodded when he saw everyone, then asked the students, "Do you know your 4 classmates who didn't show up today?" They looked at each other and then nodded at Robin. They have been living in Jura City for a long time, and some simple relations have developed between them. Especially during the past week, the relations between everyone have been strengthened. That, and not mentioning they gathered at the conference hall just a week ago and sat a few hours with each other until Robin finished his lecture. "Good. Let's go to the nearest one then," Robin announced, and started moving ahead of the confused crowd. But their confusion did not last long. After breaking the door of the apartment of the first absent person, they quickly found him lying still on his desk. His features seemed as if he saw a monster. He looked terrified, and in his hand was a pen dipped with dry ink, and an awful smell was coming out of his body. It was clear that he was dead since a few days. "Ah!" Some of the girls among the students screamed at the horrible sight. As for Robin, he ignored them and went to the desk directly, took the 2 booklets that were still on it, and then spoke calmly towards the students. "Come examine the body and find out the cause of death for yourselves. Don't be shy. Today is a good day to learn. You will see with your own eyes the fate of those who dare to defy the oath." Then he moved aside. All the students stiffened. They were already taking the oath seriously. They wouldn't have dared to mess around and try it out, but seeing the consequences with their own eyes. After a few seconds, one of the old men among them moved and pulled the hair of the rotting corpse and threw it to the ground, then began to examine everything in his body. But after some minutes, he shook his head. "Nothing. There is no sign of how this guy to die. Every organ in his body is perfectly fine. Even if the cause of the death was from a normal heart attack, I would have noticed it. But this. Look over there." One of the students pointed towards the table. After the corpse was removed, everything at the table was clear now. Everyone was focused on the corpse and was examining it with their soul sense. They looked at the desk, surprised at first when they heard the cry, but they quickly understood. There was a scroll that was flattened and was ready to write on, with 1 dot on it. Duh. The dead guy could not even write the first letter. Even Robin was dazzled by the results and nodded with a smile, ignoring the student's terror, and then shouted, "Haha, good. Let's go have a look at the other 3. Father, please excuse me from this. I don't want to go to the rest." Zara spoke, and the girls among the students started to nod as well. The old man who was examining the corpse stood at last and bowed a little toward Robin. "Sir Robin, the message is clear, and everyone here has learned the lesson. I think we'd better go back and continue our first lecture with little Miss Zara." The old man seemed firm and solemn in his words, but with the eyes of the truth, Robin could see that he was trembling all over his body. Robin nodded with a smile. "That's fine too. You can all go away, stay obedient to Zara, and study hard." "Yes." Everyone responded and ran away from the house one by one. After they left, Robin stayed in his place, examining the corpse again more carefully and seeing what was the effect of the punishment and how it was carried out and what was different about the corpse now. Robin has made it that the struck on the soul would make death inevitable, so it was not a surprise that there was no harm done on the body. But still, this was the first time he actually saw the punishment effect after it was carried out, and was extremely interested to see if there any connection between the soul damage and the body. Then, after half an hour, he finally stood up and gave orders to 2 guards to take the body to the front of the patriarch's office. Then he signaled to the rest of the guards to follow him as he took the 2 soul booklets under his armpit and walked out in silence towards the other 3. 2 of them were in an almost similar situation. One was also intending to write a letter, and the other seemed to be about to leave the house to do something, probably intending to hand the soul booklets to someone. But the 4th one was the problem. He was lying on the ground dead in the same clean and horrifying way, but the 2 soul booklets were not near him as the other 3 guys. Robin ordered to search the entire house, and they turned it upside down with Robin himself helping. But to no avail, the 2 booklets were gone. After some time, they got the help of someone who works in the investigation, and he concluded that there were traces of the presence of other people in the house on the day of the death. It didn't a genius to figure out what happened at this stage. This guy was a spy, and was about to give the information to these guys who entered his house, but died before he can. Those guys must have been terrified at the sight, as they left clear evidence of their presence. After their spy died, they must have quickly searched the house, and took whatever looked worthy and left. Huge loophole. What Robin was most afraid of has happened. The 2 soul techniques he spent about 6 months creating them got leaked, even after activating the punishment. Damn it. Robin kicked the corpse with all his might, causing it to hit the wall, then shouted to the guards, "Get me all the available and unavailable about this bastard. I want a full report on him, his family, and any party he worked with all his life, even his damn childhood friends." Yes. One by one, the guards rushed out of the house to convey the new orders to the relevant parties. Robin was left alone in the room, his anger completely overtaking him. At this moment, he realized something that he didn't think of before. For someone to take an oath to protect something, he has to have the ability to protect it first. Such scenarios are unavoidable. A dead man can't protect a tangible item. The pills, weapons, and talisman he makes are unimportant, but the law, soul, rune techniques, those are his everything. As long as the techniques are transmitted in a tangible matter through books and scrolls, nothing can be truly protected. Chapter 127. The guards went and told the intelligence department about Robin's orders, then returned to the house of the 4th corpse and stood behind Robin silently. As for Robin himself, he acted as if they did not exist. He sat in that house for 2 hours, thinking about what had happened, the possible consequences, and how to prevent this in the future. Another research road opened up again. Whenever Robin finishes long research seclusion and thinks he deserves an extended vacation, 10 other urgent research roads arise for him that require his attention. In the end, he sighed and ordered the body to be sent to the patriarch's office, also with the other 3. He ordered them to tell the patriarch to send these corpses to the families they came from, that is if they had any, or to burn them if they were unknown. He really didn't care about if they had families. They all wrote a letter and signed it that if they died without harm done to the body, then they are the sole ones responsible for it. So even if they had families, they wouldn't bother the Burtons. He even didn't care about their names. Except that last guy who lost the 2 soul booklets, that one he must know his entire history. After he arranged everything with the guards, he went home, lowering his head, looking at the ground, arching his eyebrows all the way. On that same day, guards, including a few knights, were sent to the conference hall and waited outside for a few hours. When the new rune masters finished their first lecture and came out, the guards escorted them to their residences and took the 2 booklets from them, then brought them all back to Robin's guest house. Later on that day, the initial investigation came out that those 4 said they were unaffiliated cultivators when they first came and refused to say in which family they were born. This was good and unfortunate news at the same time that they did not find families for the 4 dead. It is good that there will be no problems at all. The other 3 can just be forgotten. And it is unfortunate that now the investigation into who took the 2 booklets will take much longer than expected. They can only have a painting of the dead man and search for him like a lost child. and even do so with secrecy to not raise questions. When Robin found out, he didn't give the subject any more attention. There was no point in thinking about something endlessly, so he decided to forget about it temporarily and go back to his first plan. The only thing that benefited him from the betrayal of the four is that he examined the tablets they swore on and found that 4 more slots had been released, and this means that death does not damage the tablets, but rather makes it usable again, and this made Robin a little happier. But now it's time to go to the next plan, and the plan is relax and train. A year and 6 months have passed since Robin came back to Jura City, but since the first day, he has been in seclusion after seclusion non-stop. Even in his cave, he was never this pressed in time and never exhausted himself to such a degree. He has only come out of his cramped room about 3 or 4 times, and the total time does not exceed an hour or 2. And now the matter of the 2 booklets came up, which taken away a large part of his inner peace, even if he doesn't want to admit it. Stress and nervousness don't do any good. So Robin decided to take an extended break from any major research and start preparing for actually a more important issue. Raising the knighthood pillars. Robin has already mastered the path of truth, so he did not have any hope that a particular qualitative change will happen after he becomes a knight. But surely the amount of time he will need to finish his research will decrease by a considerable margin. What could he ask for more than that? And also, raising the pillars from the path of truth was not an easy walk either. The 3 boys were able to get to the knighthood with relative ease because Robin discovered their way for them and wrote them the methods of building the pillars inside the huge law technique book and handed it to them on a plate of gold. As for him, he still has to find his own way down one of the most difficult paths in existence. A month passed quickly. Busy as ever, Zara is still teaching the 23 potential rune masters in the conference hall for a few hours straight every day. Tired and weak, but at the same time, she was excited that she has finally found a group to share this life with. She finally found a few girls that can understand her struggles and discuss with them the difficulties they face while drawing the runes. Everyone who knew how old was she and what burdens on her little shoulders she was handling every day would only have a reference for her in their heart. Although she is the youngest and weakest of them all, she has earned the respect of everyone with her knowledge and talent and her hard-working attitude, and none of them treated her with arrogance. Even the old knights called us with all the respect they deserve. As for Robin, although he has been busy with the path of truth and has come a long way in it, he has time available and is not as pressured as before, so he has found himself a new habit of going out for walks with Mila every day, and their relationship has become much stronger because of it. Today was also a day like any other. Robin finished his daily meditation on the truth, then took Mila for a walk around the city. Then they went to visit his mother's grave, but the day did not come to an end at the same old pace. Robin, I finally found you. A voice came from behind Robin and Mila standing in front of a grave. When Robin turned and found Billy coming towards him smiling. Oh, you have come at last from the new lands? When he reached them, he bowed towards his mother Robin's grave, and then looked at Robin again. I just came a few minutes ago, and since I came I have been looking for you. In the end, one of the guards told me that he saw you heading here. We need to have a little talk. The patriarch is waiting for us in his office. Robin nodded, then looked at Mila. I'm going now. Do whatever you want, but then obediently return to your husband's house. I will do as you say, my love, Mila replied with a smile, then hit Robin on the side of the head and left with a humph, not feeling good after being shooed away. Arg, I will tame this tigress with my own strength one day. I guess haha. Let's go in our way too. Robin laughed loudly as he rubbed the spot, then started moving toward the patriarch's office, dragging behind him Billy, who was still amazed at the strange relationship of these two. Hi, Uncle Brian. I haven't seen you in a while. Robin entered directly into the patriarch with Billy. Haha. I'm busy and can't get out of this office, and you don't come to ask about this old man's health. How can we see each other then? The patriarch laughed. Robin chuckled. It's not fair. I'm busier than you. Haha. You seem to be in a good mood. At least there doesn't seem to be much trouble today. What do you want us to talk about then? No problems at all, haha. Today is a beautiful day. We just want to talk a little about some things that would shape our lands for the coming period. But before we start our talk, come take a look here. The patriarch pointed towards a large chest next to his desk. Robin took a few steps towards the chest and began examining it. Soon he found 30 tablets similar to those he used to make the oath tablets, and also found ordinary-looking swords about a meter long. But they all seemed to be stronger and sharper than what he sees with the guards every day. And one sword of them, in particular, seemed to be stronger than the rest in one way or another. This is... Robin muttered and reached out for that sword. Ha ha! Even not being a warrior yourself, you still can identify quality when you see it. You are now holding the first medium categorized weapon produced by our factories. The patriarch laughed proudly. Chapter 128. A medium categorized weapon. Robin was extremely surprised by the patriarch's words and returned to examine the sword more carefully. Billy laughed at Robin's reaction. During this last period, we have been busy distributing workers, finding new mines, and so on. And these similar swords are the first batch of the factory products. As for that medium categorized, it is another story. When we started to melt the needed metals for the low categorized weapons for the first time, we found that the time it took to melt them was much less than you expected, so I ordered an experiment to put metals that can produce medium categorized weapons in furnaces to see what happens. And that piece of metal is in your hand now. Took the furnace a few hours to melt that small piece completely, but in the end, it melted and was easily formed by an ordinary mold to get this sword. No, that doesn't make sense. I've set up the heat generation pattern to produce enough heat to melt the low-grade metals. What's going on here? Robin turned the sword up and down in shock. He definitely didn't seem very happy as Billy and the patriarch expected. 2 minutes later, his features suddenly changed and he shouted, "Total reflection pattern. It must be it." The total reflection pattern was made to take the extreme heat thread away from the walls of the furnace. Its idea is to make an invisible wall in front of the furnace's walls and continuously reflect the heat waves back towards the inside of the furnace. But thinking about it, the heat generation pattern would keep on pumping more heat power, and the total reflection pattern would compress that heat power inside the furnace. Is it possible that is what raised the temperature inside to several times what it was supposed to be? Robin couldn't believe what was going on. Among the items he set for his future after building the knighthood pillars was to find a way to enhance the heat generation pattern to raise the productivity of the furnaces. He never thought that he actually did it unintentionally. Ha ha ha! Robin slapped his forehead and laughed hysterically, causing Patriarch and Billy to exchange looks. Excellent, great. The heaves themselves are helping me. Hey Billy, how much is this sword in the market? Robin asked with a big smile on his face. A new sword with this specification, a medium categorized sword that has never been used before, can cost up to, I think, 400 gold coins. Patriarch's reply. Medium categorized sword can only be sold for this much? Then what about those low-level swords? Robin quickly asked. I think 100 gold coins would be a good price for them. This time Billy replied. That is cheap. Robin threw the sword aside and shouted. Billy replied. What is so cheap? If these weapons had been offered to us in the past when we were still an Earl family, we would have struggled to arm a small battalion of 1,000 soldiers with only ordinary swords, regardless of body armor, shields, spears, battle halberds, bows, etc. You became too used to hearing big numbers that gold lost its value in your eyes. Don't be fooled by the fact that the Bradleys and the royal family are trying to get close to you by throwing millions of gold coins under your feet. It breaks their spines every time they do so. Ark, you might be right, but this is still too cheap. I can make a lot more with a few third-level pills or a couple of oath tablets every now and then. Isn't there a way to raise our weapons prices? Robbins replied. The patriarch shook his head. It seems that you are still a dreamer, but leave the rest of your inventions aside. For now, we will talk about it later. As for weapons, there is no way to raise the value of these traditional weapons anymore, because in this way we will not be able to sell them in large patches, and we would only be selling them to the royal family or the dukes, after they get enough, or decide not to deal with us anymore. What we would do then. But what? Some hope appeared in Robin's eye. His accustomed to hearing the large numbers made him disgusted at the prices of these weapons. I think we can allocate one of the furnaces to produce unique armaments that aren't made in molds for sale in the auctions at higher prices. The patriarch replied. Great idea, Billy said, but these exceptional weapons need exceptional blacksmiths to make, and we don't have contacts with any of them. Robin interfered. Speak to Duke Gallen about this matter. He certainly can get us in touch with a few. They will not resist the idea of working in a place where they can increase their production. Give them a big salary or percentage on every weapon they make. Just find a way to lure them in. A few high-quality weapons a month being sold at a good price will be enough to satisfy me." The patriarch nodded, patting his chin. "It's fine then. I was going to speak to the Duke anyway, so that I might discuss with him the sale of our weapons to the Bradleys for the incoming period. I will also speak to him on the subject of blacksmiths and begin to coordinate with him seriously about this matter. And I will also put a few men of the Burton family as assistants to these professional blacksmiths to learn the craft from them." "Haha. Now you are thinking well, Uncle Brian. Huh. Is there anything else you want from me?" Robin liked the last part of the patriarch's words very much. He hates that others control his fate or his choices. It would be better if the family members had this craft. "Yeah, there's something we want to talk about. Money." The patriarch replied in a serious voice. The smile on Robin's face disappeared. "Huh. After overseeing the situation in the new lands, so far we found out that the method of governing with money that you chose to calm the situation in the new lands was excellent, but flawed. The situation there changed like night and day after the opening of those factories. The 50,000 citizens we had appointed support more than 200,000 others of their households, and they greatly improved our image. Many have accepted our role and began to talk good in the streets about us. The number of people who want to throw us out of their lands has decreased significantly, but they have not disappeared. They are just waiting for the right moment. The bad part is, compared to the 50,000 we selected to work, there are more than 500,000 who have filled out job applications and are still waiting. As we are speaking now, there are new work applications still reaching us. According to Billy, there was a big riot a few days ago in the applications filling area due to the lack of new jobs, and frankly, the money in the family is almost running out. Most of the weapons that the factories will produce will go to our army, so we won't really make a profit from it. And about 20% will be sold to the Bradleys and maybe the royal family to cover the factory's expenses and pay for the 50,000 workers' wages. But what about the rest of all these hundreds of thousands? We can stop receiving new applications and say that's it, we won't be wiring anymore. But that would throw us back to square one. And honestly, too many men that bears the last name Burton have died in the last 2 decades. Robin, too many that we have to close that war front. I'm afraid we will have to carry on this path we have chosen to the end and spend more and more coins in the new lands." Robin went silent. He could now predict the course of this long speech and didn't like it at all. After a few seconds, he asked anyway, "And what do you want to do?" The patriarch replied, "We plan to build new factories and mines, plant new fields, open many stores and schools to train martial arts up to the 10th level, and war training academies to join our army as mercenaries, but this needs a lot of money. These lands are vast, fertile, and full of rewards, but they are also a deep well that needs to be filled with gold first. And what is required of me?" Robin frowned. The patriarch responded with a serious voice. "We need you to stop all your researches for now and get back to make sound rings, level 16 fire explosion talismans, 50 seconds darkness talismans, level 3 soul revitalizing pills, and even some oath tablets to sell the auctions. Only you can make them, and with their profits we can make all those projects come to be." Chapter 129. "Sigh, I saw that coming. All right, I'll try to find time to prepare a ring or a pill per month." Robin was very unwilling about this. He was trying to make an academy for the rune masters so that he could take his hand out of crafting the talismans himself and devote himself to research only. Would he have to go back to get his hands busy again? The patriarch shook his head. "This will not work. To make the plan work across all the new lands, we will need huge sums of gold for the next few years. After our projects there are constructed and began to bear fruits, I guarantee you that even if we decide to leave them return to live under the Dolivarian role, they will run after us and beg us to stay. But this will need more than a pill or a sound ring a month. A soul revitalizing pill sells at 60,000 gold coins, and a sound ring can easily be sold for 100,000. A few sales of them per year wouldn't suffice? How much do you want?" Robin frowned deeply. "Wake up, Robin. Your innovations are new and shocking. That's why people are offering huge sums of money in the beginning. Even we, the Burtons of the past, would not have been able to buy these things. Even with all the gold we have now, we will still think 1,000 times before we buy something that costs 60,000 gold coins. One gold coin can support a family of 5 to live comfortably for a few months. Gold is not some rock you can find at the side of the road. These imaginary prices you have in your mind are inflation that will destroy the kingdom financial system and turn into malice and hatred towards us later. Tell me, what do you think will happen after the rich class is flooded with one of your innovations and doesn't want to buy it anymore? We will have to reduce its price in order to sell it to those who are less wealthy. Then the rich class will get angry at us because we were stealing them. You have to look long-term, Robin. These prices can't be maintained. Robin did not reply directly, but started rubbing his head and thinking about the words of the patriarch. And after a few minutes, he found that the patriarch was right. Indeed, experience in the field of business and long life cannot be compensated for by intellect alone. And what do you suggest, Uncle Brian? I'm the only one who can make these things for now. Lowering their prices even by a quarter means I have to make a lot of them monthly, and that won't work. I still have a lot in mind to research about and can't stop it for a few years for anything. Please look for another solution. Robin asked resentfully. Is there no way for Zara and the new rune masters to make them? Asked Billy. Robin shook his head. Exactly the same results? Impossible. The repetitive use seal of the sound rune only I can draw. For now, Zara hasn't reached that stage yet, and the third level of the soul revitalizing pill consumes very high spiritual energy that will ruin Zara's future. She still has miles ahead of her before she can draw it. Not speaking about the most complex among them all, the oath tablets. Unless what? Some hope appeared in the eyes of Billy and the patriarch. I think can design a pair of sound runes to work with a one-time operation seal, meaning that there will be only one chance of transmitting sound back and forth. This should be easy for Zara and her newbies to draw. It won't take them long either. It will be just like a level 6 fire explosion talisman, or even lower level in terms of requirements. Billy liked the idea very much as it was too evident in his head. This is awesome. We can sell these runes for 100-200 gold coins. Even the younger generations from noble families will be able to buy them. This is the next real revolution that will affect everyone. The demand for such runes will never be exhausted. The patriarch nodded with a big smile. Excellent. If the inscription masters team can produce good numbers per month, we can make excellent profits. And you can also make some original rings with that repetitive use seal you were talking about to sell at auctions to saints and rich merchants for huge sums of gold. But what about your other two innovations? Robin started rubbing his head. The soul revitalization pill cannot be lowered, because in this case, it would just be a second-level pill. So forget about making it more available. As for the oath tablets, no one but me can draw them for now either. But its difficulty can be reduced by making a board that fits only one oath, not 10. Besides my regular research and training, I can make one level 3 spirit revitalizing level pill, 8 one-use tablets, and 1 pair of high-level sound rings per month. But forget that I can make a 50 seconds darkness talisman and a level 16 fire explosion talisman. They take too much time. Instead, you can replace that with some of the level 6 fire explosion talismans the newbies will make and sell them patches, like selling every 20 talismans with 500 golds or something. In addition to the one-use sound talisman, the unique middle categorized weapons auctions. Is that good enough? Good, no. This is great, haha, too great. The oath tablets don't have many uses, and only the rich class of the kingdom will need them, and in low quantities also. So the one-use tablets we can sell for 20,000 gold coins each. As for the third-grade pills and the repetitive use sound rings, we will put a price tag on them. We will leave it to the auction house to determine their prices every month, as long as nothing can be done about them. The patriarch spoke with a big smile. Today went much smoother than he thought. Robin, how big of a tablet do you need for the one-use oath? Billy quickly asked. At the size of a card, I think. A little smaller than the palm of a woman's hand. Good. I will make one of the furnaces specializes in making these tablets. And I will also establish factories here in Jura to make rings for sound talismans. I will design them so that they will be easy to replace the talismans inside them. I will also make them able to carry more than one-use sound talismans for those who want to buy a few single-use talismans and stack them for the future. And I will make the rings special and in distinctive shapes to suit young men, girls, and even the elderly. No, not only rings, they are only carriers, right? I can make bracelets, anklets, necklaces. We can make them from gold and silver to raise their value even higher. Oh my God. These sound talismans carriers are going to be the new big thing. Owning one of them will be the new fashion in the kingdom. Billy muttered with a low voice, with wide open eyes that started beaming with stars as if he is already seeing the future. Robin chuckled when he saw Billy acting like this and said nothing to him, but left him and his imagination as only he could take care of this part. And maybe Mila. Robin chuckled even harder thinking about her. She would definitely get involved when they start designing these carriers. Then he looked back to the patriarch. Make sure that one of those projects you need to construct at the new lands is to domesticate weak beasts with elemental bodies, especially the red rabbits for the fire explosion talisman and the dark werewolf bats for the sound and the dark talisman. It seems that producing the talismans will witness a great expansion in the coming years, and we will need a place that secures hides continuously. Good idea. I'll start planning for it right away. The patriarch nodded. Is there any other project would you like to recommend before we start? Robin scratched his head, thinking for a few seconds, then shook his head. I have nothing in mind. For now, you do what you see fit. I have only one hope. Please find some good molds for my dear categorized weapons. I understand that you produce some unique ones to sell at the auctions, but our army deserves something good too, especially the body armors. They must look awesome. Arg. All right, I will find Gallon and get some molds from those famous blacksmiths. Robin smiled. Good. The arming of the army is going better than expected, and the family financing for the incoming few years has been agreed upon. Is there anything else you want me to do? The patriarch shook his head. No, you can go back to what you were doing. The resources you need to complete your monthly tasks will be sent to your residence shortly. Good luck in your research. Robin nodded, then ran out before they asked him for something else. Chapter 130. In a small hut in the middle of a forest. Waiting again. They are manufacturing categorized weapons in large numbers. Inside my ficking kingdom. What else is there to wait for? Until they come and take my throne. Quack whack whack. Shouting suddenly exploded inside the hut, frightening all the birds and beasts within a few kilometers. Even the experts standing outside the hut had to automatically take a few steps back. Calm down, Charles. Raising your voice won't solve anything. Let's be reasonable. Charles Dolev, the current king of the Kingdom of Doliver. A man of straight build with a muscular body. His quick hand movements and voice suggest he is a young man or middle-aged at best, but his tired features and white hair says otherwise. Whose hand is in water is not like whose hand is in fire. You put off our plans day after day, months after months, until they came to rebuild their army in MY land, using MY minerals, paying MY citizens of MY damn kingdom to make the weapons that would destroy me. Charles went on a frenzy again, but his own words hit him hard, and he had to sit back again with his hand on his forehead. Like most other kings, Charles was only busy with discovering minor heavenly laws and new attacking technologies and left everything administrative to someone else, which in his case is his eldest son, Louis. But he was forced out after the disaster that befell his kingdom a year ago. His shock could be imagined when his son came knocking and telling him that they lost half a duchy because of some exploding rabbit hides. It is not like we have forsaken you, Charles. We've agreed to meet here to find a solution, right? Let's talk quietly. Tell me more about the subject of those categorized weapons. Are you sure what you're saying? One of the two men sitting across from Charles spoke without haste. This was Geoffrey Hampton. This was the king of the Kingdom of Lying Water. A man of short height and thick white hair, looking very weak and fragile, but with one look in his eyes. One can see them oozing with strength. The Kingdom of the Lying Water is right above the Kingdom of Doliver in the map and have an extended border with it, and is at the east of the Kingdom of the Black Sun and also have a huge border with this. The borders between the Kingdom of the Black Sun and the Kingdom of the Lying Water is much greater than the one between the Kingdom of Doliver and the Kingdom of the Black Sun. It is so huge that it covers both the Duchesses of Alton and Bradley from the east. Charles replied after calming himself a bit. Recently, the Burton family started building factories on the occupied lands and offered large wages to the workers. When they opened up the factories and the workers started to look around, those workers were surprised that they were working on strange furnaces that could require cultivators' energy to work, and it can melt high-level metals. And they had already started making categorized weapons as casually as we make iron weapons. They are making categorized weapons in molds. This. The other two looked at Charles and then at each other. Then the third of them asked, maybe they are just rumors? This was George Oakley, king of the Oaklea kingdom. Burly, taller than the average human, with sharp black eyes and handsome black beard and hair. He didn't look old in any way. His kingdom is extremely far away from both the kingdom of Doliver and the kingdom of Lying Waters. But what they have in common is that the Oaklea kingdom has a border in the west of the kingdom of the Black Sun, specifically with the Duchy of Julian. Charles shook his head. Impossible, though I have never seen one of the weapons with my own eyes. Yet there are thousands of workers confirming this, and the mining in my occupied lands are all for minerals that are used to manufacture low and medium-grade categorized weapons. What do I do? As we speak now, they are building more of those demonic factories. They are building my doom in my own lands. After about a minute of silence, King Geoffrey spoke. Waiting is good most of the time. It gives us the time to find information, and information is power, but I'm afraid time is not on our side this time. King George nodded in agreement. When Charles saw this, he rejoiced. Does that mean you're ready to attack at last? George shook his head with a sarcastic smile and stood up. I have no big problems with the Black Sun Kingdom. I have only accepted this alliance because I want a piece of the cake. But now that the plan has hit a wall, I am satisfied with the land that my ancestors had passed down to me. Farewell. You traitor. Charles stood and released his aura. It was obvious that he is ready to attack at any given moment. If his kingdom was destined to fall, he wouldn't fall alone. Even the saints scattered outside the hut also raised their guard to the max, ready to fight at any moment. Wait. The Lying Water King Geoffrey raised his hands. You are both kings, for God's sake. You are not kids in the street to act like that. I have an idea that will satisfy you both. Say what you got. Charles answered, but did not look at him, nor did he stop his aura, his eyes still fixed on George. Obviously, we can't wait to try to gather information. Our enemy is developing too quickly and won't give us time to think about anything. I fear that every time we try to delay to find a solution to counter one of their creations, they will develop another. George, you may not care now, but when the Black Sun Kingdom reaches a certain level of power and the balance on which the 8 kingdoms stand is broken, they will undoubtedly attack Doliver, then my Lying Water, but your kingdom will be taken to under their feet after that. You will have nowhere to hide when that day comes. Now we are facing them together, but if you left us now, you will be dealing with them alone then. Our alliance started as a way to divide the Black Sun between ourselves, but now it is for survival. Geoffrey spoke in a low voice. King George replied, shooting. Enough. I will not attack now no matter what. Didn't you hear? They are making categorized weapons in molds. What else would you like to listen to know that the Black Sun is not to be messed with? Even if we leave the issue of categorized weapons aside, as they have not been able to collect much of them yet, it has been almost a year and a half since the war on Doliver has ended. They must have collected a large number of talismans by now. I will not command my army to jump into a pit of fire, literally pit of fire. Charles squeezed his fist. George, don't be indecisive like women. Who knows how long the kingdom of Doliver took to collect those talismans they used in the war? Maybe tens or hundreds of years. Maybe they didn't make them in the first place, and the man who supplied them with those talismans didn't supply them with any more. Should we be afraid and stop everything for something that might be an illusion? George looked back at Charles with disgust. It is impossible that these talismans have been with Doliver for decades, as you say, and we knew nothing about its existence. Their first appearance was in the 8 Kingdoms tournament, in which your successor showed his rampant stupidity, and immediately after that they appeared in great numbers in the war. You say the man who supplied them with talismans stopped providing? Then from where did these strange furnaces appear? And who makes the talismans that are sold in their auctions every month? If you want to bet that they don't have many talismans left, then please go ahead, you and Geoffrey. You two attack and take all of the Black Sun under your armpits. As for me, I'm not ready. I don't want any of their lands anymore. I'm satisfied with my kingdom as it is, and I leave the future troubles for the future. Now get the hell away from my face. In fact, King George Oakley indeed came today with the intention of finding plans for future cooperation and drawing a roadmap. But hearing about the categorized weapons shattered his last bit of confidence. The killing intent overwhelmed the small hut and affected those outside it. At any moment, the allies might turn into enemies. Chapter 131. Look at yourselves. What will the kids outside say when they see you old monsters behaving like this? Jeffrey also stood up and quickly advanced and stood between Charles and George. Charles raised his hand and pointed his forefinger at George, shouting, "Tell that to him." If he wasn't a man enough and could not handle the responsibilities and consequences of his actions, he shouldn't have got into the alliance with us in the first place. You. George almost burst to shout, but he restrained himself and turned around. Humph, it's no use talking to you anymore. Farewell. But Jeffrey came forward and grabbed George's hand. Just wait a minute, brother. My words a while ago were not to pressure you to launch an attack on the Black Sun Kingdom immediately as you think. Even I am not crazy enough to do such a thing. These words ignited the flames in Charles's head even more. You. Even you, Jeffrey. Jeffrey turned and raised his voice for the first time. Shut up. If the muscles are useless, then we have to use our brains. I also wouldn't put my soldiers to the test for something that I'm absolutely certain about. And I don't have to do that either. George's morale was at last aroused a little. What do you mean, Jeffrey? Stop talking in riddles and say it straight. Did you find something? The lying Water King put his hand in his pocket and took out a red beast hide, a little bigger than the palm of his hand. With one look, Charles identified it easily. It was the fire explosion talisman. Even someone who has not seen a specific talisman before has heard of its appearance. But after the first look, it turns out that there is something special about this particular talisman. What are all these circles and strange shapes on the talisman? George asked, narrowing his eyes and trying to focus on every detail. According to the description he heard about this talisman, it should have been plain with just a simple flame shape on it and number 6 inside. These shapes were not supposed to be above the talismans. Charles, too, was puzzled by his appearance, but asked something else. Where did you get it from? The Marleys don't allow anyone from outside the Black Sun Kingdom to attend their auctions. What is your relationship with the Black Sun Kingdom exactly? The feeling of being betrayed has already dominated Charles's mind since his quarrel with George, and that darkened his vision for everything else. Jeffrey looked at Charles like he is the stupidest human alive. Then he spoke. I have eyes in the Black Sun. Of course, I sent one of them, and he won 3 auctions for level 10 fire explosion talismans. What? We're trying to find out information about the runes, but it didn't occur to you to find a way to buy them. What about you, George? Did you manage to get any? Charles and George looked at each other, but didn't say anything. They really didn't think of it. You too. It doesn't matter. You should thank the heavens that I'm here with you. Humph. When I got the 3 talismans, I started examining them directly. The first problem that stood in front of me was that I felt something like a shallow cover around the talisman, preventing me from seeing the truth about it. I focused on working on it, until I was able to find a weakness and managed to destroy the cover after about 8 months of trying. But what was hidden inside was an even greater mystery. Whatever that thin layer was, it was hiding much more difficult and precise things. What you see with your eyes now is the truth of the talisman. All I can understand is that it consists of 2 parts. One part of them stores energy inside and can be easily identified by making the famous hand seal and passing some energy in. As for the rest, it must be that causes the explosion. And this is what I didn't understand anything from it. Give me that. Charles came forward and took the talisman from Jeffrey's hand and began to examine it. George also came forward and stood next to him, trying to find any clues. Don't bother. It's impossible for you to understand what is going on in front of you. Jeffrey shook his head. But you were able to make it appear. It means that you understood part of the talisman. What might prevent us from understanding this? Don't be pessimistic. This is a great opportunity. George replied happily. This was a great breakthrough for them. Jeffrey shook his head. I didn't understand anything from it. It is just that destruction is easy. The first shallow cover was just some kind of illusion. Any sage can find it and destroy it given some time and concentration. And I don't understand anything from what you see either. I can only specify the part that supplies the talisman with energy when you pass your energy with it. and you will be able to separate the two sections. Other than that, you will now find anything. I tried redrawing what you see countless times. I failed many times to achieve any result. Then I stopped transferring everything exactly as it was and tried to draw the big weird pattern first, but the paper I was writing on heated up and it started to burn silently. And then I tried to draw that shape that contains the power by itself, but I accomplished nothing. I couldn't even make it store energy anymore. And then I tried to flip the subject and draw the energy shape first, and then the big pattern, but there was always something missing. The power of the explosions was getting a little bit bigger or smaller with every try, but I couldn't get an explosion more powerful than level 1 no matter how hard I tried. There is a missing link that I don't know. This mixed feelings hit the two kings. On one hand, the world of talismans began to open up in front of them, and on the other hand, the roads seemed to be blocked. Without understanding what they are seeing, it is impossible for them to do anything more than Jeffrey did. They can only redraw the patterns like he did and hope to succeed. Sigh, you're a genius, Jeffrey, as you have always been. But you know this isn't going to do us any good, right? We'll probably need dozens of years of continuous experimentation to understand what we're seeing now. That's if we ever did. Then find a way to mass produce it. I only have less than 20 years to find a solution. After that, Dolliver would be long gone. Charles shook his head. You misunderstood me. I don't say we must work on this on our own. If we are not able to unravel the mystery of these talismans, then let the specialists reveal them. Jeffrey replied with a smile. What do you mean? We are sending those 3 talismans to the Flame Empire, Jeffrey declared. Kings George and Charles looked at each other out of the corners of their eyes. It is impossible for the Flame Empire to have any knowledge of talismans at the moment. They are completely isolated from the kingdoms, and only those who are half a step to the Sage Realm or higher can enter it. Relaying the news to them was not an easy decision. Playing with empires brings nothing but troubles behind it. They treat them as masters treat slaves, perhaps worse. But come to think of it, wouldn't the Flame Empire care about something like the Fire Explosion Talisman? If the Flame Empire had stepped in to hunt down that person who made the runes, or at least give them the method for making the Fire Explosion Talismans after they analyzed it, then, no, just a simple favor from them, such as declaring the protection of the 3 countries for a certain number of years, would be enough. After thinking for about 5 minutes, Charles nodded. I agree, but on one condition. I'm going by myself with those talismans to the Flame Empire. I won't come back unless I have a solution for my kingdom. I'll go with you too. We're in this together, partner, ha ha ha. George laughed out loud and patted Charles on the shoulder. Charles looked at him with a look of ridicule and disdain, but he did not respond. He knows that he went back to wanting a piece of cake now that a glimmer of hope has appeared, but to go with him and give him a piece of the cake is better than him heading towards the Black Sun and telling them their plans and what they intend to do, which will make them hasten their invasion. A big smile appeared on old Jeffrey's face. Good. Let's go together then, when we come back. It will be the day the Black Sun perishes. Chapter 132. Jura City, after a month. The Rune Master's training with Zara ended a week ago, and they all started to produce large quantities of level 6 fire explosion talismans on daily biases, supported by the soul strengthening technique and the soul replenishing technique. While Zara returned to drawing the runes that are currently difficult for others to understand, like the darkness, vitality, the 1st and 2nd level spirit revitalizing pills, and even the level 10 fire explosion talismans. As for Robin, he spent the past month redesigning the sound rune by merging the one-time use seal with the sound pattern to produce the new desirable rune, then trimming the oath rune to have only 1 slot available for use. That way it will be much easier and more affordable for most of the nobles. This was the longest and hardest piece of work he had to do after his agreement about the funding that he discussed with the Patriarch and Billy previously. Although the process was known to him and its steps went smoothly, it took him a whole month to finish. The process of integrating the operating seal between the folds of the pattern was not easy at all. He had to put the seal in a way to affect the entire pattern and at the same time not spoil them, and for both work independently. Then the subject of the oath rune, which was even more difficult, as he had to rebuild it from scratch. When he finished the design of the single-use sound rune and design for the rune of the single-slot oath tablet, he went to visit Zara and her apprentices immediately. And to his surprise, he found out that the first stage of the academy that can accommodate a few tens of rune masters was already finished a few days ago, and Zara took the new rune masters and reallocated there. There he chose 10 out of the 23 rune masters. They were the top 10 in terms of spiritual strength, and among the youngest as well. None of those chosen were of the old knights who were close to death. Then he spent 2 days teaching those 10 rune masters and Zara how to make the single-use sound rune, and the single-use oath tablet, while the remaining 13 continued to work on the level 6 fire explosion talisman only. The selected 10 rune masters had a great deal of information about the world of runes, and even some practical experience with drawing the level 6 fire explosion talismans, so teaching them was not as difficult as the first lecture he had to give at the conference hall. After he is done giving them the blueprints and even staying with them until Zara draws a sound talisman in front of him and tested it together, it was decided that they would spend an extra month practicing the new sound talismans with Zara before they started producing their own works. Just like that, these 10 formed the first elite group among the rune masters of this world. And after Robin was assured that everything was in place, he left them with peace of mind, and went to check about the other 13 rune masters with an extended visit this time. After a few hours of observing and finding out that they are already producing fire talismans in good quantities, and the productions doesn't seem to affect much after he took Zara from them. They have already become their own masters and would help each other if there is a problem. Everything was running perfectly, and thus, he returned to his home silently. It's time to go back to what he was doing before Billy interrupted him. Establishing the law pillars and breaking through to knighthood. Robin has been dreaming for a long time. Establishing the pillars of the 11th level with something intangible as the path of the truth was not easy, even though he is almost certain that there is nothing more left for him to explore in the first stage of the path of the truth. It is still difficult for him to link everything he knows together and have it to be firm enough to become his pillars for the next cultivation levels. This will probably take him some time, thought Robin after the first 2 days in meditating positions. The first that got to his mind at this stage is that there are a lot of things he wants to do now that are more important than him getting to the knighthood. But it is still a delay he has to go through. He did not want to pressure himself to break through to gain strength or to extend his life, as everyone else does, but to shorten the time for his next research. It's a long but inevitable investment, and it is more important to Zara than anything else. Robin previously decided to save Zara the major law of life, but very soon he realized how he was when he actually started trying to explore this path. Although the major law of life is not a master path like the path of truth, as the path of life is like any other, it has a major law and many minor laws branches. But it is one of the highest known paths without a doubt. After many attempts since his promise to Zara, he was only able to scratch the surface of the path and discover the minor law of vitality. This is also why Zara tries to delay her training as much as she can. She meditates without haste and doesn't even use energy stones. She just takes it easy and waits for breakthroughs until they are inevitable and happen naturally. She doesn't have a law yet that she can study to build her pillars, so there is no point in reaching the 10th level anyway. And so, for Zara first, and for his future research speed second, everything should be shelved until he finishes his knighthood breakthrough. And just like that, 5 months passed. Robin had nothing in mind but training and searching for the truth, but not to the same degree of complete isolation as before. Most of the time he spent on training and trying the best ways to break through, but he also found time to make a few runes to gain some profits from auctions as agreed with the patriarch. He wasn't even aware of how shocked the kingdom and the entire world were when the 1-slot oath tablets and the 1-use sound rings first appeared at Jura's grand auction. There is no need to even mention 3rd-level soul revitalizing pills that literally had fights broke out over them. Jura City burst into life as never before during these 5 months. He even prepared a few 10-slots oath tablets for Billy because so many families came into their minds in the new lands and showed their intentions to swear allegiance to the Burton family after they saw the numbers of those who break thought to the knighthood of the first 4 families in front of their eyes. As for Robin's own house, everything was so quiet that Mila asked him to join the Rune Master's team instead of the boredom that surrounded the house. After he refused more than once, Mila brought one of the oath tablets herself and took the initiative to swear the same oath the rest of the rune masters had sworn before. Only then did Robin agree to let her join them. He then called for Zara and arranged to have her teach Mila everything she knows about the runes. But Mila didn't go with her before she hit him in the side of the head and called him a heartless bastard. And this day also was quietly passing at Robin's house, until a knock sounded on the door and someone yelled, "Uncle Robin, there are 2 men from the royal family who wants to see you." The royal family? Oh, the 3rd year has already begun. Well, tell them I'm busy and have them wait until I come out. Robin shouted from inside the house. He did not move from his place. Uncle Robin, they are at the Patriarch's office now, and they have already said that they are willing to wait for you. But the Patriarch asks you not to keep them waiting for too long this time. The boy at the door replied with an embarrassed voice. After a few seconds, Robin came and opened the door, then asked, "And why is that exactly?" Robin knows that the Patriarch would not have asked for something like this without a reason. The last time the envoy was ignored for over a month, and no one even came to tell him about it. The young man bowed slightly when he saw Robin and replied, "The one who came this time, the future crown prince, Prince William Marley personally." Chapter 133. Prince William? I've heard of him before. He is an intelligent, strong person of great stature among the royals. All right, I'll go meet him after a moment. You may leave. Robin spoke and signaled to the young man to go back to where he came from, then entered his house again, brought with him a thick scroll, then moved with quick pace towards the Patriarch's office. The guards did not stop Robin from entering the building. They just gave a bow as he moved straight inside and found the office room open. Inside, the Patriarch was sitting on the sofa and not at his desk as usual, and in front of him is a middle-aged person who looks very handsome and dignified, and it is clear that he is very strong. With one look at him, Robin knew that this was William Marley. With them is a politely seated handsome young man who appears to be in his 20s at the 10th level of the Energy Foundation. This was the first time he had seen this person. Robin stopped thinking about it and nodded. Huh, Your Highness is personally here? That is too much. If you needed to see this little one, why didn't you summon me to the capital? Please sit down, Your Highness. William stood, and the young man sitting next to him stood up with him the moment Robin entered and opened his mouth. Then William spoke with a big smile. Haha, how can I sit down when you are entering the room? If you don't deserve at least this little amount of respect, then who does? So you are Robin Burton. I was shocked when Uncle Albert told us about you. You look much younger than I imagined, and your bone age is. When he came down to this part, he quickly changed the subject. I almost forgot. I want to introduce you to my little brother Alfred. The young man beside him, Alfred, took 2 steps and bowed slightly toward Robin without saying a word. The Patriarch was starting to sweat. Robin himself was shocked by what was going on around him, especially from that bow, and took a step back, quickly waving his hand. Hey, please stop this. You are scaring me here. This little one doesn't deserve such treatment. Please go back to your seats. Haha, you really are a humble young man. William laughed. Then he and Alfred returned to their seat. He knew Robin's real age, of course, but he was still a young man in his eyes. Robin came forward and took a seat beside the Patriarch, then asked, Can I ask why 2 princes are honored us the Burtons to the point of visiting us today? I see that Sage Albert decided to tell you about my identity. You didn't come just to take the law keys, right? Does this have anything to do with what happened with the idiot who came to get the keys last time? Robin was not comfortable about this. He was not comfortable with anything related to the royal family, actually. He has some confidence dealing with the Bradleys before and the Burtons now, but the royals, he is like a little mouse in front of them. He succeeded in putting a show in front of Sage Albert using the sound talisman and acting as if he was fearless in front of death. That made Sage Albert appreciate his future and even protect him for now, but if he ever changed his mind, Robin's life is literally in the hands of the royals. A single decision could end him, and he hated that. And the thing is, he is not as fearless in front of death as before. Seeing the fruits of his work slowly change the world around him has become too appealing for him. He has already found a reason to keep on struggling to live another day, but he himself didn't know off. As for the matter of today, the royal family is known to be cold towards everyone, even the dukes themselves. Just his little meeting with Sage Albert was considered a great honor in their point of view. But now 2 princes came together to his doorsteps. Even if they were showing him apparent respect, it is still scary. The only thing he can do now is to behave humbly and pray that they came in good. William smiled lightly. Actually, we didn't really come for the keys. We just happened to need you for something a few weeks ago, and my Uncle Albert told us to wait and come at the beginning of the new year so we would not disturb your research twice. You needed me for something? And what can I do for the royal family, Your Highness? An ugly smile took place on Robin's face. William extended his hand and put it behind the back of Alfred, who was sitting next to him. My little brother here was about to form his knighthood pillars. When my uncle found out about this, he ordered him to stop and summoned us both. And he told us about you. Honestly, we are here to get your opinion on the subject of my little brother's breaking through to the knighthood realm. Do you think it's the most appropriate thing he can do? Robin couldn't stop himself from swallowing his saliva with a loud voice. That's what he was afraid of the most. William's little speech was not direct and malice hovering around it, but it was clear enough. They are here to take a law technique for Alfred to make his knighthood pillars with, and that law has to be stronger than the one that the royal family use. The royal family minor law is the third stage. It is one of the 8 strongest minor laws in this world. Ahahaha, who am I to give my opinion in something like that? But if you want my humble opinion, I see that the young prince has solid foundations and he can attempt to build his pillars whenever he likes. Robin laughed strangely. William smiled and removed his hand behind his brother. The whole kingdom has heard a lot about Caesar's white flame, and we in the royal family have followed his news closely, and we are hearing even more about it after he broke through to knighthood, and his strength reached a remarkable level for a knight at the 11th level. That flame, it's not a normal energy attack technique. It is a law cultivations technique, right? Finally, the patriarch also understood what was happening as well and started pouring out a cold sweat. Even Robin's smile became much uglier. It might be. It might be not. Do you have something you would like to say, Your Highness? A few seconds of heavy silence took place after this question, during which William did not take his eyes off Robin. Then he burst out laughing. Haha, relax, my little friend. My uncle didn't pressure you to submit the runes draking techniques when he had the chance, which already shows to you how much we respect you. Do you think we're here to pressure you to submit a minor law technique that is most likely still at its first stage? Calm down. We are here to know the possibility and the price you want for it if it is possible. Robin nodded incessantly. What a nice speech. You really are a great diplomat. But you wouldn't simply leave if I told you I wouldn't sell, would you? Prince William's smile disappeared. But you won't say no, right? You already handed us a key for a minor law technique, and even a ready-made minor law technique last year. Why don't you do it again? We can pay extra for this one. Robin rubbed his forehead, as he expected. They didn't come with the intention of accepting a no for an answer. The only good thing about it is that they think Caesar's technique is a minor heavenly laws. After about a minute of silence, Robin calmed down and said to Prince William, my adopted son's techniques will always be mine alone, and it's impossible for me to hand them over, even if it's the royal family. Robin didn't wait for Prince William's reaction and continued, but if you wanted it for Your Highness Prince Alfred alone, there is room for further talk. Keep talking then, William replied with furrowed brows. Oath tablets are being sold at our auction house for a few months now. You must have heard of them? I need a little oath from the little prince, and the technique will be his. Robin replied with a smile. Oh, Prince William smiled. You want the Prince of the Black Sun Kingdom to put his hand on a tablet and swear upon it to take a minor, heavenly law cultivation technique. This is the bare minimum at which I can give away the technique to anyone who is not a direct subordinate to me. Your brother must swear to never leak the technique, not even its name, to anyone, and not to use it against someone who belongs to the Burton family without my permission. In addition to this, you must pay 10 million gold coins. Approval or rejection in your hands. Chapter 134. William didn't answer immediately. He just kept on tapping on his armrest for a few seconds. In the end, he nodded. I see no problem in this. Currently, there is no one in the royal family's core members that is close to breaking through to knighthood other than my little brother, and I won't haggle with you for those distant relatives, so I won't make it difficult for you in this matter. For now, as for asking for an oath on the tablet is understandable too. It's your technique after all, and you have the right to protect it, but 10 million gold coins? Are you out of your mind? Robin was shocked by the prince's words. This was the last point he thought he would reject, What is wrong with that? William looked at the patriarch. Can I have a little help here? Ah ha ha ha. Sorry about that. Robin has gotten used to hearing big numbers too much. Then he quickly looked toward Robin in a pleading way. Boy, 10 million coins is not a number you can casually say. It will take a huge bite of the royal family's treasury. Since they knew you, their expenses have increased dramatically by sending 500,000 gold coins annually, and they even sent an extra million gold coins last year because of what happened with that saint who tried to attack you. Not speaking about the tens of thousands of gold coins they spent monthly in our Jura auction house. Please stop pressuring the royal family. Leave something in their treasury. Robin scratched his head. It seems that the patriarch's previous talk about the inflation due to the appearance of his innovations was correct. His work is increasing, but the amount of gold in the kingdom is fixed. Robin sneered sarcastically. His innovations cannot be valued in gold, but even this was limited. Sigh only 5 million gold coins then, and I won't hand you over other law technique keys this year. That's my last offer. Even after dropping the price in half, William's eyelids trembled for a moment at hearing this enormous amount. But after taking a quick look at Alfred, whose eyes began to twinkle with excitement, he sighed and said, all right, I agree. Excellent. Robin nodded happily. Uncle Brian, do you have a single slot oath tablet, or are they all sold out? Of course I have one. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a metal plate slightly smaller than his palm. You keep it in your pocket? Never mind. Robin took the tablet and passed it to Prince Alfred, then dictated the oath and made him inject his soul sense into the tablet and repeat slowly. After he finished, Robin patted the prince's shoulder. You are the first person to benefit from a law technique I made for my children while you are not even a direct surrogate of mine. Use it well. Prince William stood and patted his little brother on the shoulder excitedly. Ha, that's excellent. I have no doubt that you will learn the technique of an exceptional law. But where is the technique? Sorry, but I will not write the technique manually. Go to Caesar in the New Lands and take with you a single-use sound talisman. When you reach Caesar, activate the talisman, and I will tell him to teach you the technique orally and convey to you his long experience in using it. He will be a personal tutor for you for a month, after which you can go back to the capital and do whatever you want. But where do I find him? It is said that he is roaming your New Lands all the time with your other 2 boys searching for rebels. Alfred replied, I will send a sound message to Uncle David and have Caesar wait for you at the main factory, and Uncle Brian will send a knight to show you the way. Is that okay? Robin pointed at the patriarch. Alfred nodded. All right. Robin turned back to look in William's direction and tossed the scroll he was still holding at him. These are the minor keys I've prepared for this year. Since we have agreed, I don't need to hand them over this year. Consider it next year's key. This will save you the trouble of sending someone to take it next year. Our 5 years agreement is almost done. Only 1 key to go. Then, after a few more pleasantries and formalities, Robin stood up and left the office, heading back to the guest house again. Robin returned to his seclusion and his oblivion to the speed of the passing of days. 2 months after his meeting with the 2 princes, the way to build the pillars of the path of the truth began to take shape before his eyes. Some of the things that were blocking his path were removed, and he had the general idea of how to build his pillars now. During the following month, he entered complete seclusion, in which he focused all his attention on building his pillars, not moving a single step outside his room the whole time. And on day 33, he finally did it. Robin Burton has officially become a level 11 knight. The first thing he did after he finished forming the 11th level pillars was not to test his strength and not check how far his life force had reached, but rather directly rose and lit a fire using some sheets from his bed. And the result was not what he expected. Robin did not hope for a big change after getting into the knighthood, as he only translated what he already knew and mastered to a solid form for a new cultivation level. That is it. All he wanted was to reduce research times and increase the strength of mental and spiritual a little bit as well. And he lit that fire to see if there was something cleared in a way that will reduce his research time, as he was hoping. But what he saw in the fire was not what he was preparing for. This was not what he had been seeing before he became a knight. Or, more precisely, it is more than he had been seeing before. Everything he knows about fire is still in front of him more clearly than before, and the connection between the different 3D patterns in the main body is as clear as the sun in a clear sky. Perhaps if Robin had seen this earlier, he would have finished the perfect major fire heavenly law technique in a few months less. But what amazed him most is that his eyes can now penetrate deeper and see patterns in the flames that he could not see before. But at the same time, he felt that this does not mean that what he was seeing before was incorrect. After examining the patterns for about another 2 hours, he was sure that this was without a doubt the second stage of major heavenly law of fire. The second stage of a major heavenly law? This was no joke. Even for any minor heavenly law, no matter how weak it is, any law technique that has a second stage, meaning that it can be used to reach the realm of sainthood. This type of technique, what gives the ancient noble families their stature, it is the top guarded possession for any duke family. It is invaluable even within empires. Robin has always been annoyed at thinking about the future of his children's law technologies, as it is this squeezes his intelligence and his efforts to discover the first stage of the law. He didn't leave a single pattern in sight that he didn't use. He even went the most inhospitable environment like volcanoes to make sure that he didn't miss a thing. After he finished the fire heavenly law technique the first time, and after his head cooled down, a question was raised high. What will happen when he considers starting to research the second stage of any law? Was there even a second stage in terms of the pure patterns that he sees? If there isn't, then why are these second stage techniques are more powerful? Was the truth a path that will show him the beginning of the road, then he would have to take the long way afterward? In his previous assumption, he decided that when one of his kids reaches level 20, he will need to enter into seclusion for a few decades until he finds a way to reach the second level of one of those laws. But even though the patterns he sees now are a bit confusing, it was exactly as he used to see the first stage patterns before. If he has enough time, there is no doubt that he can find them all and compile them to make the second stage technique for one of the strongest laws that have appeared in this world. Chapter 135. After breaking into the knighthood realm, Robin stayed in his room for a few more days trying to get used to his new abilities and the new worldview that unfolded before him. Also, his main path as a researcher did not prevent his curiosity from trying his new strength as a knight, but he soon became frustrated. His strength as a cultivator had increased, but not by much. It was just a little less than the ordinary increase in his previous breakthroughs. Breaking through in the knighthood realm takes a lot more energy than usual, especially building the pillars in level 11, which is the first in the knighthood realm. It takes much more energy than the basic 10 energy foundation levels combined. Where did all that energy go? He knows that some of that energy would be used for reshaping the body of the knight to make it able to use the heavenly law he made his pillars with. For a human flesh able to release fireballs or adapt to extreme speed, it requires this kind of massive reshaping. Other than this, a portion of the used energy is for expanding the life force. And whatever energy is left after those 2 points will be used to expand the knight's future energy reserves and increase the amount of usable energy in every attack. This is the true power of a knight. As for the law of truth, it is something that affects the inner intuition and the eyes of its user. It is not something that the body has to be mutated for. So other than his eyes, he got out of this with no benefits for his body whatsoever. But that should have freed more energy to turn into expanded energy reserves and increased usable energy per attack. But that didn't happen. His eye's mutation has taken so much energy that it almost left nothing for anything else. Whether it is physically or energy-wise, Robin found himself far below an ordinary knight. But this did not bother Robin too much. Strength is not what he was hoping for when he chose the path of truth. And he can also use the path of truth in many indirect ways during a life or death battle like he did with that assassin before, which is the only important aspect for strength. Or that's what the weakest knight in history told himself anyway. After a whole week of building the pillars, Robin finally came out of his seclusion. The whole process took 8 months of his life, 1 month of them in complete isolation. This was more than he had expected when he decided to start, but at least he did it now and removed a great weight off his chest. Immediately after getting out of the room, he left his house without trying to find anyone in it, as Zara and Mila had left the house almost since the academy was built, and now they spend most of their time there and don't come back unless they want to sleep. Especially after Mila started learning higher-level runes directly from Zara and started helping her prepare the monthly auction sales. The first thing he did was that he headed directly towards the academy, smiling and nodding his head towards those he met along the road, and his smile increased when he saw the building in front of him. The last time he got to this place was after building the first section of the academy, but now the building is huge in every sense of the word. It wouldn't be an exaggeration if Robin said that this was the largest building he had ever seen after the royal palace. This place is specially equipped to contain the lives of 1,000 rune master inside it, in terms of living, working, resting, places for chatting and exchanging ideas, and even huge lecture halls. Robin went straight in, undisturbed by the guards, and began examining every little detail in the academy alone and nodded with satisfaction at what he saw. Robin, the guards just told me that you came to the academy. When did you leave? And why didn't you summon us? You are a knight. Mila's voice came from behind Robin as he was inspecting one of the large lecture halls. Robin turns and finds Mila standing with a brush with her hands stained with dark green ink, and there are a few spots on her clothes as well, and he bursts into laughter. Haha, looks like I made the right decision not to summon you too. I see that you started practicing Vitality Rune now. Stop making fun of me or else. Mila takes a few steps, picking up the brush and moving it in the air. Robin quickly took a couple of steps back, fearing the ink would come on his clothes. Whoa, all right. You and I will stop. Why did you think I was making fun of you? You look better when you work hard and not lazing around all day. I'm going to Uncle Tim's restaurant. Do you want to come? And where is Zara? Who was lazing around all day? Zara is currently busy teaching the elite class about the Vitality Rune. I already understood everything and made 2 Vitality talismans so far, but I expect she still has to spend some more time with them. Wait, I'll wash up and go get her with us. And she was about to turn around and leave. Looking very excited, not every day Robin comes and asks her to go out with him. No need. Work is more important. I will make it up for her with another dinner later. As for you, if you finished your lectures and work for today, then come with me. I will wait for you outside the academy in half an hour. Okay. Then Mila turned and walked away, and Robin went back into roaming the academy, examining his heritage. Come here. I have the best clothes and... Oh, good morning, Sir Robin. Come. Hello, Uncle Robin. Thank you, sir. My family and I are praying for you. Haha, how are you, Robin? Thank you. Thank you so much. Walking in the city streets with Mila is not as noisy as it was at first. For the past year, Robin used to go out and walk with her around the city until everyone got used to it. Just as the city itself has become crowded with saints coming from all over the kingdom to follow the auctions, so seeing strong saints like Mila in the streets is no longer a strange thing. But what made Robin amazed is the thank you that is repeated by many of those he meets on the streets. This phenomenon has been going on for a while, and Robin never thought of it. But it appears that it increases significantly with every time he gets out, which made his suspicion increase this time. Today, out of every 10 people who greet him, about 7 of them thank him. For what? No one of the commoners, or even his weak relatives, are supposed to know about his innovations. Even after he finished his meal and paid the 50 gold coins, Jack told him that he will make many people thankful for this today, which made Robin look at Mila and find her stifling her laugh by his side. And after his first step in the street after leaving the restaurant, the strange phenomenon came back. He came to the restaurant again. What a great man. Thank you. After walking for about 200 meters and the phenomenon continuing, Robin couldn't hold himself anymore and grabbed Mila's arm. Okay, that's enough. What do you know and don't tell me? What are all these people thanking me for? Is there any news leaking out about what I'm really doing? Ha ha ha. You finally can't stand it anymore. You bid smart man? I was expecting your facade of indifference to last for another 2 months. Mila, his voice got colder. All right, I will answer, but talking won't help. Come with me. Mila put her hand on his shoulder and wrapped him in energy, then quickly sped towards the north of the city. After about a minute, they both landed on a tall building overlooking a large open piece of land, where there was nothing but a large tent with a sign Robin Burton's Charity, and in front of the tent, a large number of women and children were sitting. Robin was extremely surprised by the sign and looked at Mila. What is going on here? How are those people? And what charity is this? I know nothing of it. Why are they using my name? Don't you remember what I said to Jack Burton about what he does with your money? Use it to feed the poor. Do you know how much food can those 50 gold coins buy for ordinary mortals? What? Robin didn't expect this answer. They took my words seriously that day? Chapter 136. Bonus. The Everins. Of course they did. Since that day you have been visiting them continuously. At some point you were visiting them at least once a week. All that gold were converted to meals for the poor and distributed here at lunchtime every day. The official lunchtime is in an hour from now. You can wait and watch. Many of the poor in the northern part of the city and their families will gather here to take their rations for today. It is unfortunate that the 50 gold coins aren't nearly enough for everyone, and you don't even go there daily, so the food is also limited. I think that every family has the right to take a meal once every 2 weeks or so. It was made that way so that the food would reach everyone who is in need. But this is still a great help for them, and all this is done under your name. Your popularity among the poor rises with every dish they receive from here. Even the higher layers of the city and the foreigners are impressed. When someone hears about this initiative from you, nothing comes on their tongues except for praise. Robin felt his legs run weak and sat in his place on the roof watching the women and children sitting in front of the tent waiting for something to eat. Robin remained in his place for more than half an hour. It was long enough to see people began to gather from all sides in the open piece of land. So many of them that the land began to disappear and was soon covered with skinny bodies with eyes that sparkled with hope as they wait for their turn for the food they have been waiting 2 weeks for. Robin didn't know how he was feeling. He accidentally did something great with that suggestion and that little money. But then again, yet another thing he is getting praised for even though he didn't mean it. The things he really does with his work and brilliance too few know about it. But he is getting the credit and love for some things he never thought of. How ironic is that? After another few minutes, Robin couldn't stand watching any longer, so he got up and sighed. I looked ahead too much that I forgot what is under my feet. I wanted to change the whole world, but I haven't been able to improve the lives of those who live in my own city. Tell Uncle Brian to subsidize Uncle Tim's restaurant every month with enough money to feed all the poor in the city from today onwards. And they should be 3 good meals a day and not 1. I don't think that would be too troublesome for the family. I guess 20,000 gold coins would do. This amount would have been a problem in the past, but not anymore. No one shall sleep hungry in my city any longer. Mila nodded with a smile as if she was waiting for this response all along. No problem. The patriarch won't refuse you a request like that. More people will be thankful for you from today onwards. Robin, let's go, Robin said and jumped off the building and left in the opposite direction. Mila walked next to him quietly and did not want to disturb him while he was thinking. That scene a while ago had an effect on him more than she thought. But after a few minutes of walking, he took the initiative. Where is Billy? I want to ask him something. He spends most of his time in the new lands now. The 5 saints need to stay in the factories to protect the furnaces and the arsenals, as Billy works on overseeing the new projects and dealing with your noble families there. Mila replied, Oh, well, we'll go to the patriarch then. Mila shook her head. No need. He has been in seclusion for over a month. He has reserved 3 third-level spirit revitalizing pills and decided to try the breakthrough to level 26. Upon hearing this, Robin stood in the middle of the street. What? There is no saint in charge? Who runs Jura City then? Of course I am. Uncle Edward takes care of everything related to the army and its armament. As for all the other matters, they are decided by me. Mila placed her hand on her chest and replied proudly. You? The family is frighteningly lacking in high-class figures. Never mind. Did we get information on the party that took the soul-strengthening technique and soul-replenishing technique booklets? Mila replied angrily. I'll try to ignore that you are not treating me as a family member. Humph. As for the information you are asking for, yes, we have it. The intelligence department got it 2 months ago. The guy who leaked the 2 techniques was not some wandering cultivator as he said. He is relatively unknown as a cultivator, but at the end, we found out that he is a member of a baron family of the Duchy of Everin. Robin never expected this, or rather he didn't want to expect it. What kind of relationship does that baron have with the Everins? Excellent relationship. In fact, there are many low-level marriage relations between the 2 families, and they are the first to answer the call of wars. You can say that they are the dogs of the Everin family. Robin furrowed his eyebrows. A mere baron would not dare to play such a game on an ordinary Marcos family, let alone a family as important and mighty as the Burtons now. After a few seconds, he started to move forward again and asked, "The Duchy of Evren. They are the border duchy with Doliver, right? We need to pass through their lands every time we enter or exit our new lands. What is our current relationship with them?" Mila shrugged. "Not so bad, really. We don't have the best of relations, but at least there is no hostility on the surface. They attend all the auctions we are holding and win a few talismans every month. Though every now and then there are squabbles at the frontier with our new lands when the wagons loaded with the classified weapons or battalions of our armies try to get in or out from there. No deaths we involved, but they are just not flexible at all. Just 3 months ago, they seized a wagon full of classified weapons and kept it with them for a whole week with ridiculous excuses before returning it to us after some pressure from Patriarch Brian. Even my Uncle Edward had to intervene in this and threaten to involve the Bradleys in the situation. And currently, they restrict the passage of our classified weapon wagons from their lands to once a month for security reasons. We currently have to collect all our work in the factories over the course of the month and send it in one big caravan made up of several wagons." Robin's features turned upside down. That was totally unexpected. Robin was angry that the 2 techniques he worked hard to make had gone missing, but he wasn't worried. Even if the 2 techniques fell into the wrong hands, there is no problem really. Even if they have ways to strengthen and replenish the soul, so what? What will they do with those souls? The actual problem comes after the 2 techniques fell into the hands of one of the forces. An inevitable question would arise. What do we do with those souls after they are strengthened? Whoever that will have those 2 techniques will enviably make the connection with the Burtons asking to hire cultivators with strong souls. Why would the Burtons gather those special cultivators and even empower them more? To make something special. And what do the Burtons do have and can be called special that others don't? Talismans. The whole process won't be a mystery anymore. If that force who takes the 2 techniques has any smart person, he would start questioning the old man in the mountain myth and look at the Burtons themselves more. And this is what Robin feared most, that this organization would try to penetrate their ranks and try to find out more than they should. And this is what is happening now. It is clear that the Duchy of Evren has begun to seek answers to the new questions that began to arise. There is no longer any doubt that they were the ones who took the 2 techniques. And without room for any doubt, this won't be the last time he will hear Evren's name with something he doesn't like. Chapter 137. Who is visiting? The Duchy of Evren. Robin muttered in a low voice. Mila was silent for a few minutes to give him a chance to think, then spoke. "I know what you are thinking. It's easy to make the connection. Those techniques are most likely taken by the Evren family." The Patriarch thought the same when he heard the report as well, but it's hard to act, extremely hard. Robin nodded. "There is no evidence that they took the techniques, and even if there is evidence, you can simply refuse to hand them over. Even if we mess with that Baron family now, we would gain nothing. I'm generally not worried about what they can do with those 2 booklets. They are worthless without putting them into use by crafting the talismans, but I'm afraid they will go further after they have tasted their first success. Appoint a few men from the intelligence department to collect only information about the Duchy of Evren. Watch their movements closely, the way they deal with our caravans that cross to the new lands, what they do at the auctions. Tell me if there are escalations on their part." Mila shrugged. "I will do as you say. I wish there were more benefactors like you." Robin nodded with a smile to the passers-by, then spoke to Mila. "Is there something in the family that warrants my personal intervention?" "Yeah. You made the 30 10-slots oath tablets and handed them over to us a few months ago. Billy took only 20 of them to the new lands in case if new families wanted to join our panel. After they all saw that the first 4 families that joined us started gaining knights, lands, etc. They also came to take the oath and receive the minor heavenly law technique. During these months, we have been able to win 17 more families to be our nobles in the new lands. As for me, I booked 10 tablets here in case new potential rune masters came while you were in seclusion. At first, everyone said 10 tablets were too many for that, and I almost sent the rest to Billy, but the strangest thing happened. During the past 8 months, more than 300 cultivators that matched the specifications came to work for us." "Wah, 300 of them." Robin was shocked by the number and stopped for a moment in the street. During his previous year of seclusion, they could barely gather 56 individuals. Mila nodded. "This shocked us too. Up till now, we still don't know how that happened. I personally think it was the new enormous academy that is starting to gain fame for being mysterious, or maybe seeing that our inscription masters were treated with respect and really received what they were promised. The important thing is that more than 300 individuals came to work, and because you were busy, I and Zara took over the task. We told them about the oath they had to say, and about the benefits for them and the powers behind them if they joined us, etc. The whole process was easier with them because they already have knowledge about the oath tablets as they are sold in auctions for a few months now. In the end, 149 individuals agreed to stay and work with us. 100 of them took the oath, 8 of them died because of trying to break the oath, then another 8 took their place, and the rest of the 41 are waiting until we provide them with tablets to swear upon and start their learning. Does this mean, excluding you and Zara, there are 123 rune masters that are working on the talismans now as we speak? Robin asked hesitantly. That is partially right. Some of them are still in the training period though. The older rune masters are still teaching the new ones what they know. But in general, yes. We currently have 123 rune masters, Mila nodded. Even in Robin's wildest dreams, he didn't think the rune masters could reach that number. If each of them made 1 fire explosion talisman per day, then the total number at the end of each month would be. Hey, where did you go in your mind? Mila poked him a few times in the side of his head. No, nothing. You say there are 41 individuals waiting to take the oath? That means you need 5 oath tablets of 10 slots, right? Mila nodded. Billy sent 50 new tablets of the 10-slot size. They are all waiting for you. Robin rubbed his chin. At this rate, he would still need to draw the 10-slot tablets in weekly biases alongside those single slot he need to make for sale. After a few seconds, he sighed, forget it. I'm going to make the 5 tablets, for now, then I will leave the rest to you. You are a saint, and Zara has a lot of experience with the runes now. I will teach you how to make the oath tablets yourself. I wish one of you will catch it. Excellent. Mila was very happy with Robin's statement. After the increase in the numbers of the masters of talismans, her role in Zara became much more limited, and with every new rune the rune masters start to produce, their role between them becomes less. It's about time they both specialize in something new. After entering the administration area, Robin made a detour toward the guest house, but Mila stopped him. Where do you think you're going? I'm home. Robin was surprised by the question. Hey, come on. Then she pulled his arm in the opposite direction. Soon, a heavily guarded, luxurious palace with a nice frontal private garden appeared in front of them. The palace wasn't very big, but it was undoubtedly one of the largest buildings in the administrative area, excluding the academy, of course. After a few seconds Robin of looking around, he understood something and gasped. This. Right, it's our home. Mila had a big smile. She had worked so hard to supervise every little thing in the palace. She made it a better version of her former mansion in Bradley Pearl City. Robin looked at her out of the corner of his eye. You mean my house? Aren't we one, honey? Come on, show me the house from the inside. Then I quickly pulled him inside. Robin took a vacation from training, research, and very much everything he used to do, as he fully focused on teaching Mila and Zara how to make the oath tablets. After making the simple version of the sound talisman, he would draw the multi-use version only for money, but he now has to draw only 2 things, the 3rd level of the spirit revitalizing pill and the oath tablets. If he can make them successfully draw the oath rune, then it will be only a matter of time for them to be able to draw the spirit revitalizing rune as well. As such, investing some time on them, for now, will surely pay in the future, but this sometimes took more than he expected. The subject was not easy for them, as this was the first time they drew something related to the soul. It was much more complex than the level they were accustomed to. It is like asking a kid in the first level of energy foundation to study the 3rd stage of a heavenly law technique. And the inevitable happened. After the first week of trying, the 2 failed miserably. But Robin didn't give up on them. He decided to change his strategy. He would spend a few hours daily trying to enhance their craftsmanship of the runes as a whole by solidifying their foundation. After every rune they perfect, he would get to the next one, then the next. When he got to the point where he had to make them perfect the sound, fire explosion, and even the vitality runes, Robin ordered to gather all 164 rune masters, the older and fresh ones, in a lecture hall and give them all a few lectures personally. and even passed by them one by one to see how fast and precise they were. He did it so that they could get their information straight from the source, and even remind them who the real boss is in here. This process took him a full month, but in the end, it bore fruit. All the Rune Master became at least 30% faster than they were before. As for Mila and Zara, who were taking private lessons daily, they were able to finally make their first oath tablet each. At that same week, the Patriarch also came out of his seclusion, officially becoming a level 26 saint. But the actual main event at the end of the month is when Mila one day came up to Robin and said, "My father is coming to Jura. He said he wanted you for something important, and he is bringing another guest with him." Guest? Who? Robin asked. Duke Raymond Alton. Chapter 138. A Brat. A week later. The front garden Robin's new palace. Welcome, welcome. My humble house is honored receiving 2 dukes today. Robin opened his arms and greeted the 2 men approaching him. Ha ha, it's been years since we last met, Brat. Then Galen placed his hand on the middleman's shoulder next to him. Let me introduce you to. This is Raymond Alton. Raymond, this is Robin Burton, my daughter Mila's fiancé. Robin smiled and looked at the man who was coming towards him. Expressions of bewilderment, astonishment, and perhaps even shock were evident even in his look at Robin. Robin wasn't happy with this look at all. Actually, he wasn't happy since Mila told him about this meeting. He had nothing to do with Duke Raymond, and he wasn't supposed to know who he was, so what brought him here? In the end, Robin managed to fake a smile and spoke. Can the moon be hidden? We live on Duke Alton's territory, so, of course, I saw a picture of him in my youth. But it is still an honor for me to formally meet your highness today. But may I know the reason for your visiting this little one? I think Patriarch Brian has already come out of his seclusion if you want something from the Burtons, so. But the response was not expected, as Raymond looked at him even more sharply and muttered, Robin, Burton, so you are the mastermind and creator of the marvelous talismans, just a 150-year-old guy, and only 11th level knight? Who would have thought of that? Duke Raymond's first sentence since his arrival wiped away any smile from Robin's face as he turned to look at Galen in anger. Haha, why are you looking at me? Hold on. Galen laughed loudly, and then threw a 1-slot oath tablet to Robin. We had a great conversation in which I had to reveal your identity, but I made him swear not to leak your identity to anyone. Robin picked up the tablet and examined it carefully, before putting it in his pocket and smiling again at Duke Raymond. I am glad my acquaintances have increased another one. Welcome again, your highness. Ha ha ha. If you said that before checking the tablet, I might have believed you. Raymond laughed out loud, not really angry. Just a precaution, your highness, you must understand my situation, right? Come on, please take a seat. Robin pointed at a small table in the front garden of his palace. The 2 followed him to the table and began exchanging pleasantries and formalities for a few minutes until Mila brought them cups of coffee and distributed them, then sat down next to Robin. Haha, you are really a difficult boy to meet. A good while has passed since I tried to have a meeting with you, but you were always in seclusion or busy with something. Only when I learned from my daughter that you are out and that you were not busy with anything for some time, I left everything in my hand and decided come immediately. Galen spoke while drinking his coffee. You are always welcome here, your highness. Robin smiled. Huh? Why do you keep saying your highness? Call me my father-in-law, you brat. What? Aren't we a family now? Galen laughed out loud. Robin looked next to his eye at Mila sitting to his right and shrugged. Hee hee, I think you're right, father-in-law. But what is wrong with boy, brat, young man? You are letting my current looks fool you too much. Robin didn't like those words very much, or rather, they weren't familiar to him. He was treated by the little village next to his cave like an old fart not so long ago. Duke Raymond chuckled. You are just a little boy of 150 years of age, I think. When I was your age, I was still testing my luck with girls left and right. You can't imagine how shocked I was when I found out you were the talisman maker. Galen needed a few minutes to convince me of that. Ha ha, don't remind me of the past, Raymond. 150 years is nothing to the nobles. It might be the end of the life of an ordinary cultivator of the 10th level, but for those who have studied the laws, every level in the knighthood realm increases the lifespan by 50 years, so a level 20 knight can live up to 650 years. Then if you are lucky enough you can enter sainthood, where each level in sainthood increases the lifespan by 100 years, meaning that we who are at the top of the level of the saint can live up to approximately 17 centuries. That not even speaking about sagehood, whose lifespan increases by 300 years with each level. And you speak as if you are old, you son of a century and a half. Ha ha. Raymond nodded with a smile. Honestly, only a brat could plot to attack a whole kingdom when one of his relatives was almost about to get hurt in it. I was surprised when I first heard that the talisman creator was the one who sponsored that war, but now I understand. Galen nodded. You are right. If not, His Highness Sage Albert gathered the armies at the borders and threatened Dover at that time. The Burton's army and my army there would have been wiped out. His stance in the war was as important as the war itself, or maybe more. He is the one who won the land, not the army. We owe him a lot. FECK? I'm sitting right in front of you. Did you two come here to insult me? The way this conversation went really enraged Robin. It rubbed salt on the injury. Robin already feels stupid every time he thinks about that war. Attacking Dolliver exposed him to many dangers that almost destroyed him. He was only lucky that the royal family of the Black Sun got to him first. And the only fruit he got out of that war was the half a duchy the Burtons took. But even that became a liability that burdens their steps. Ha ha. Who would dare insult the godfather of talismans? If we all died right at this moment, we will be forgotten as soon as our bodies go back to Earth. But you, my little friend, will never be forgotten. You will go down in history as one of the forefathers who added something to this world. Duke Raymond spoke solemnly. Never to be forgotten, those words already cooled down Robin by much and made him forget his anger. Duke Raymond struck his nerves easily and also went straight to his greatest desire easily. This guy is good, he thought to himself. Yeah, that's right. Your inexperience does not take anything away from you. Tell me, Robin, is it true that you spent your whole life in a cave alone, as Mila told me? Galen asked. More or less. The last 20 years I found Caesar as a baby, and he lived with me in the cave. So you are without real experience, my little friend. To gain experience and openly say, I lived, you have to socialize with the people, love and hate, start fights and find peace. You may be a genius and unparalleled in certain respects, but in terms of maturity, I don't think you are more mature than a young man in his 20s. Robin scratched his head, not knowing what to say to these two old beasts who are centuries older than him. Sigh, my age and my practical experience may be really nothing compared to you, but I know that I have what it takes to make up for this. You both come here on your feet to see me, right? Tell me, my father-in-law, how can I help you? And what was that great deal that you had to reveal my identity to Duke Alton for? You want to change the subject, huh? Haha, all right. I don't want to bother you for long as we'll. I know you need your time to change the world and make more dukes come to you, ha. Galen laughed loudly, then looked seriously at his daughter. Get out of here, girl. Go cultivate or something. What? Why? I arranged this meeting. I brought you coffee. Mila objected as soon as she heard her father's words. I want your fiancé with something important. I don't want him to think that I will use you to pressure him. Don't worry, I will tell you later the outcome of the meeting. Still gesturing her to leave as he spoke. You. Mila hit her foot on the ground and left. Her appearance made Robin burst out laughing. Then he turned back to look at the Duke. Discuss something important. What is this? Galen put down the coffee cup on the table in front of him and gave a meaningful smile. Honestly, I'm hungry. Robin smiled. Those who know who I am would drool over so many things. Tell me, father-in-law, what exactly do you want to eat? The Kingdom of the Lying Water, Galen announced. Chapter 139, Great Appetite. Robin was shocked by the Duke's reply and his smile vanished. He thought Galen would ask him for more talismans or a larger share of the categorized armaments. But this. Your appetite is very worrying, father-in-law. Ha ha ha. Frankly, I have some envy in my heart. In one fell swoop, the little Burton family has acquired nearly enough lands to be declared a duchy for yourselves, and I am a duke with a bigger army and wider resources, still have the lands I got from my ancestors. Do you think this is fair? You got what we agreed upon. It's not like you were the losing side in this matter. Robin replied plainly. Honestly, I didn't think we would keep a single inch of land out of that war, not to mention half a duchy. 2 saints and hundreds of knights of my family have died in that war, and I got nothing besides a future investment. I know that I got what I wished for, and if I have to go back in time, I will probably take the same decision and have the methods to make the fire talisman. But the land. Land is power. You might not feel the bless you have at your hands now, but you will feel it clearly after you finish developing it. More territories under you means more cultivation resources, more minerals to arm your soldiers, and more rich beast zones, more gold mines, more men to join the army, more talented youth to join and serve the family, more of everything. Congratulations to you about that sweet fat piece of land you got to yourself, but now I want to invest what I got out of that war. The fire talismans, they must put to use for my own benefit this time. Duke Galen spoke seriously. But the timing, Robin muttered. He understood that the Duke was trying to say, but his own plan for the incoming years was peaceful as if can get. He already gained enough land for the family to grow and expand their base upon for the next few generations. As for himself, he only needed to expand his legacy by training more rune masters and researching for more laws, even finding more ways to spread his work to everyone. Now is the time to relax and gain the fruits of the past 150 years. Galen smiled. What about it? Is there a better timing? The prestige of the Black Sun Kingdom among the other kingdoms is at its peak right now, and everyone is still waiting for any move from us. Even the Dukes of Lying Water, next to me, started to send gifts and deal cautiously with the border patrol. Haha, their soldiers were extremely arrogant not long ago, and now they are behaving like kittens. I can say that if I move now, I will win half the battles before they even start because of their intense fear of the talismans. If we lingered for much longer, this fear may dissipate, and I will lose many more soldiers. Robin nodded. You have a point then? Why are you here? What do I have to do with all of this? How can you not have something to do with it? You are a partner in this war as much as me and Galen. The talismans are the basis of this ambition, Raymond added. Robin turned to him. Sorry for asking. Tell me again, what are you doing here? Raymond looked at Galen in the eye and found him chuckling, then sighed and replied to Robin. Your son-in-law is really as rude as you said, then went back to look at Robin and said, I'll join Galen in the attack. Why? Robin looked at Galen. You already have the necessary army to take on any duchy head-on, and you have the method of making the fire explosion runes which makes you nearly invincible among your peers. Why do you need the Alton family? Galen spoke seriously. I will not lie to you. The matter of involving the Alton family was the advice of Sage Albert when I went to visit him to tell him about my intention to attack the Lying Water Kingdom and take the piece of land next to me. Even if they don't make a non-aggression pact like yours, I'm confident that I can permanently take at least a quarter of the duchy next to me. But he didn't like my suggestions. Between us and the Lying Water Kingdom, there is a great frontier stretching between the Duchy of Alton and mine on our side and 3 duchies on their side. I only wanted to attack the duchy with which I share the largest frontier and take what I can from them. But Sage Albert suggested that I take the Alton family with me and widen that scope of the attack. We will invade 3 enemy duchies at the same time. This might have been just a dream in the past, but not now. Now we have an irreplaceable opportunity to increase the lands of the Black Sun and make it the largest kingdom among the 8. Robin rubbed his chin for a few seconds, then nodded. Sage Albert really knows how to really take his chances, but is it easy to start wars like this? Dolliver has spared no effort during the past tens of years to drag us into a war. Raymond shook his head. We have had a lot of wars already, but it was between the duchies of Everin and Tinley. Wars on an individual level are easy, and we can come up with any trivial reason to start them. We can send a soldier to take a shit in the enemy's land. That would do. Haha. The real problem is in the royal war. Galen nodded. Right. I went to the sage to see if he would support me in case the Lying Water Kingdom's royal family joined in or not. And he agreed, and even told me to increase the attack scope by taking the Alton family and attacking 3 duchies instead of 1. Haha, that would be a good fight. Oh, it looks like everything is ready, so what is my role? Don't you know already how to make a level 6 fire explosion talisman? Robin replied to Galen without emotions. He didn't want to get involved in all of this. His name has become a fire explosion talisman now? Never mind. Frankly, you left me in a dilemma. I couldn't find people with the qualities you demanded, strong spirits or knights, who would be completely loyal to me. So I built underground dungeons and filled them with thousands of slaves, and he taught them all how to draw the fire talisman. Yet they only produce about 500 talismans per month. Some of them fail to draw completely after wasting valuable resources and food, so I kill them, and some of them produce one talisman per week. It is becoming frustrating. You did. What? Robin stood up and yelled angrily. That idiot has taught the secret technique to thousands of people. What did you want me to do? You only created the oath tablets recently, and even after their creation they are too expensive for me to buy. Galen innocently shrugged. After hearing this, Robin did not say anything else, but sat down again and put his hand on his forehead. It was not clear whether he was depressed or angry. Galen felt he had screwed things up and tried to quickly change the subject and not go too far. Let's get back to the important topic. What I have right now is not enough for an invasion of this scale. We previously invaded the Duchy of Tinley with about 8,000 talismans, but that worked because it was a new invention, and frankly, if they organized one more attack, they would have wiped us clean done because the talismans were already out. Also, we will attack 3 duchies, not 1, and Brother Raymond here doesn't have a single fire talisman, not even mentioning the darkness talismans, vitality talismans, and the sound rings. Without you heavily involved in this, I will have to reject Sage Alpert suggested and stick with my previous plan. Raymond nodded and a big cruel smile appeared on his face. I heard that you are spending gold like water in your new lands. This project can help you out in that matter. I can buy any rune you have in large quantities. You wouldn't regret this. As for me, I only want to serve my kingdom and raise the Black Sun flag on more lands. Chapter 140. Half of what? Galen quickly added. And don't forget the weapons. I am currently purchasing from you 10% of all the production of your factories, and the royal family purchase another 10%, and the rest is given to your own army. You need to raise the percentage you give me, at least for half the production of the factories, until the war begins. Raymond nodded with a smile. I have heard a lot about the mysterious categorized weapons factories in your new lands. I would love to participate with Duke Galen in buying this percentage to support our efforts for the kingdom. Robin slowly tapped his cheek for more than 2 minutes in silence as he looked at the dukes sitting in front of him. Apparently, they came here wanting a lot of talismans, at least tens of thousands of them, and half of the factory production on top of that? This was not hunger, but gluttony. Finally, Robin asked, when do you intend to start the attack? This would be a massive war. We agreed previously that it would take about 5 years to train more soldiers and obtain enough recourses and, of course, enough weapons and talismans from you. Raymond Alton replied. 5 years, huh? Robin nodded continually. During the past month, new individuals came to take the oath and work as talisman masters. Currently, he has 181 talisman masters. Some of them are still training, but most of them have already started working on the fire explosion talismans and the sound talisman. And there are still more of them being recruited with extremely fast pace. In addition, he has Zara and Mila and a few other true geniuses among the rune masters who learned how to draw vitality and darkness talismans also, and they can make more than 5 runes per day. Within those 5 years, he will be able to provide a large number of different runes for the Burton family and can send the rest to these 2 dukes without a problem. As for weapons, it is less of a problem. Currently, several other factories are being built and production will be doubled in 1 year from now. Therefore, selling half of them means that the Burtons will maintain approximately the same current production. And even more, factories will be built after that. After Robin got to this point, he looked at Galen and asked, I don't see a reason to refuse, but what do I gain from this? Although we will take huge quantities, we are willing to buy everything at the standard market price. Raymond looked at Galen and then turned back to Robin and replied, Obviously, what else? Robin replied plainly. A bad feeling started hitting Galen. If you have requests, say them and we can discuss further. Robin didn't reply immediately, but closed his eyes and sank into his thoughts. About half an hour have passed already. The 2 dukes got bored and started some side talks until he finds what he wants. After another full 5 minutes, he opened his eyes and spoke directly. If this deal was done as you want, it was going to cost you millions upon millions of gold coins. I think you need this money more than me to increase the size of your army over the next 5 years. Each of you will need to raise an army of at least 400,000 men, right? You need to pay, feed, and arm them. That must be costly. What do you think of another suggestion? I will give you 40,000 level 6 fire explosion talismans and thousands of darkness, vitality, and sound talismans. I will even send with you 10 elite knights rune masters to stay with you throughout the war. They will make all the 4 kinds of talismans, especially vitality talismans, in order to preserve the lives of your senior officers, and all this without paying a single silver coin. This. Galen and Raymond looked at each other. This is too good to be true. Robin, what do you want? Instead of being happy, Galen asked anxiously. He knows very well that his greed and ambition are nothing compared to the boy in front of him. He wasn't some kind-hearted man who will sacrifice for the love of the kingdom. Robin smiled at Galen. Brother-in-law, I hope you haven't forgotten the person who tried to assassinate me and was already too close to killing me when I was under your protection. You mean Marquis Rufus? Boy, I told you I can't do anything to him. Maybe I might impose economic pressure or something, but Galen replied quickly, trying to defend himself. But Robin interrupted him. Hey, I didn't tell you to do anything. I will. Galen furrowed an eyebrow. What do you mean? When you go out with your army in 5 years to attack the lying Water Kingdom, I personally will go out with the Burton family's army to attack that Rufus. I want to hang his and his bastard son heads on the gate of his own city. His entire lands shall become mine. A cruel smile ate up Robin's entire face. Galen slammed the table in front of him angrily. No way. Rufus administers about half of my duchy's lands. You're asking to take all that lands for a handful of talismans and weapons? Are you crazy? You are going to build a huge army, armed with tons of formidable categorized weapons and talismans, to take part in an attack on 3 duchies. If you do not succeed in conquering them all, then at least you will take a whole duchy. Then what if I take half of one from you? That land is passed down in his family since ages, and he is only a follower of you in name. All you do is take taxes from him and give it to the royal family. All this does not matter to me. I want to expand the family lands. And you say that you will take half of what I already have. Forget about it. Galen replied angrily. Father-in-law, I came back from the brink of death when I was under your protection, and yet here we are, and we are still together, and our relationship is even closer. But I have not forgotten what happened. I kept silent for 3 years now because I know how sensitive his position is, and that the death of a marquis is something that would draw a lot of attention, and I can't get out away with it. But it's different now. The royals know my real value, and the whole kingdom will be busy with the huge war outside. It is the perfect opportunity. This guy intends to kill me because I'm related to Caesar. I bet he and his stupid son are still planning to kill both of us. Maybe even kill Theo and Pion because they are Caesar's brothers now. What should I wait for? Until he succeeds? Duke, if you can't take revenge for me for being attacked under your watch in your own institution, then let me take my own. I must kill that person at all costs, or I will always be worried about my sons. And after I spend the family's resources on killing the last man in their family, and thousands of our men are inevitably martyred in the war while the kingdom witnesses this, I must keep a piece of land, or I will look like a fool. You don't want your son-in-law to look like a fool, right? But I understand your concerns. What about this? 45,000 of the fire explosion talismans. I will send with you 20 rune masters, and I will take only 2/3 of Rufus' lands. Robin spoke without stop. Galen felt like he had taken a hit. He was planning to make Robin feel guilty for not giving him a piece of the new land in Doliver to make him pump more support, but it seems like Robin is using the same tactic against him now. Should I pretend to see nothing while you attack my duchy's lands and kill my nobles, Robin? Secondly, even if you could take his lands with the force of the army, you wouldn't be able to kill him. Rufus is a saint of the 29th level. Galen said in a low voice. That is why I said I will march after you start your war. No one will blame you for not interfering, and I will apologize to the Bradleys afterward and return to you a lot of the lands I took, and even a lot of gold in front of the whole kingdom. Then you can reply that you understand it was a personal grudge between the Burtons and the Rufus family, and the matter ends just like that. As for how to kill him, that's my problem. If I can't think of a way until the 5 years limit is finished, I will cancel the project, and you will have what you want for free. What do you think of my offer? Take 1/10 of their lands. This is a good compensation for not being able to protect you that day. Don't exaggerate any further, Galen said angrily. Give me half their lands, and I will teach you how to make the 5-second darkness talismans, Robin responded quickly. Raymond Alton quickly turned to Galen again to see what will be his reply. This conversation took a turn he had never expected. Was this the same kid they were mocking for being too young a few minutes ago? Chapter 141. Bonus, Splitting the Cake. Galen immediately went silent. The darkness talismans, he knows those talismans very well. If he had to choose between the same amount of fire explosion or darkness talismans, he would surely choose the darkness talismans. They are extremely important in the battles of knights, and if the knights were empowered, the battle is as good as won. But Galen did not reply directly, but remained silent for a few seconds before speaking. All right, you can take a third of their land, and I will take Edward when the war begins to lead my armies, and then I will send him back to you after the war is over. Arg, why are you so stingy? A third of the lands of the Rufus family, in addition to the former lands of Baron Camden family. Baron Camden? All right. Galen nodded. Camden's family have mostly perished 6 years ago under the hands of Marquis Rufus, but their lands were taken back and right now it still belongs to the Kingdom of Lying Water. In addition to that, it's not large in any way and is right next to Rufus Marcusa, so he won't actually lose much by giving it up. He also knows that Robin made this request mostly because of his adopted son, Peon Camden. Robin stood up smilingly and extended his hand to Galen to shake his. A third of the lands of the Rufus family means about 15% of the Duchy of Bradley. This area is much smaller than the new lands that joined the Burton family recently, but it is a few times larger than the area of the old earldom of the Burtons. Galen met him resentfully first, but eventually shook his hand as well, announcing the seal of the deal. Ha ha. Excellent. This how gentlemen do their business. Glad everything is settled. Duke Raymond laughed out loud. When Robin heard this, he looked at Duke Raymond with the side of his eyes and chuckled maliciously, sending a cold tremor down Raymond's spine. Raymond actually felt a little threatened. He stopped his laughter halfway and asked, "Why are you looking at me like that?" Galen chuckled when he saw Raymond's reaction. At last something got him out of his sour mood. Robin returned to his seat and replied to Raymond, "Your Highness, it's not fair to let my father-in-law pay the full price while you laugh at the side and watch, right? He doesn't even need to pay anything since he has a method for making the fire explosion talismans and gets many categorized weapons on him monthly. He can attack that duchy next to him and rip a large chunk out of it. But he is now stuck with you, and he had to pay because of you. How can this happen while you are the one who will benefit from this deal in the first place?" "What do you want?" asked Raymond with a heavy heart. This guy just stole a fat piece of land from his own father-in-law. What would he do to him? As you know, the new lands that we have taken from Dolliver are separated from the ancestral lands of the Burton family, which causes us great headache. And now that I have agreed with Duke Galen, we will have a great piece of land also separated from us. You do not think that the Burtons should become 3 scattered pieces of land, right? Robin spoke with a strange smile, as if he was hinting at something. "Ah ha ha. Hee-ha-ha. Yeah, Raymond. Do your business like a gentleman, ha-ha." Galen laughed out loud and kept patting Raymond's back. Raymond himself sighed and put his hand on his forehead. Robin's words are very clear, that he wants to connect the old lands of the Burton family with the lands he will take from the Duchy of Bradley. And to do this, he must take the lands that lie between the two, vast lands under the control of the Duchy of Alton. I will speak to the nobles to give you a safe passage between the two lands. Raymond resented. Robin shook his head. That won't work. Listen, between Jura and the Duchy of Bradley there are several nobles that controls different lands. Any one of them can link us with the Bradleys. One of them is what I want, the lands of Marquis Tai. He is the one who attacked us 15 years ago and did what he did to the Burtons. The time for revenge has come for one. Why not the other? Raymond took a moment to think about it and comprehend the extent of the destruction that would happen to the lands after 5 years. Then he nodded. "Sight, it's all right. If the lands are with you or with him, you all belong to the Duchy of Alton. Do whatever you like." Robin shook his head. "No, your Highness. After I get this vast territory, how can I remain under another family? We will be the 10th Duchy of the Black Sun Kingdom after this war." "Robin!" Duke Raymond stood up and shouted angrily. "Your earldom has always been under the Altons' rule for thousands of years. You want to take it, and even take the lands of the Tai family. then become independent? This is too much, even for a greedy bastard like you. Robin looked up at the Duke calmly. Did you think we'd belong to the Altons forever? You're a smart man with lots of experience, aren't you? You have definitely already thought it through. Someday, sooner or later, we will have our independence. It is only a matter of time and a matter of whether it will be done with your permission or against it. I don't want to do it without your permission, my Duke. Today is a good day, and we can come up with a solution that satisfies everyone. Just tell me what you want. Raymond sat down again after a few seconds and fell into deep thought. Of course, he knew he would face this situation one day. The crazy bastards who attacked Deliva with 30,000 soldiers and won will not be subjected forever. But just he didn't think he would face this situation too soon. After about 10 minutes, he finally replied, "Increase the amount of fire explosion talismans that you will deliver to us before the war to 60,000. And you must continue to support my army in all possible ways during the war until it stops completely, and after I get at least double of the lands you want to take from me. I also want a method for making fire explosion talismans, and you must hand it over today. I also want to buy a permanent share of 10% of your factory's production after the war like the Bradleys and the royal family, and a permanent priority to buy anything you make like the two families. In addition to a non-aggression pact and a mutual defense pact between our two families that will remain in place for 100 years. Do you want my underwear too?" Robin shouted. "You fucking want half my lands. Kid, these are my terms, and I will not back down from one of them," Raymond announced. Robin's face appeared troubled. He thought the Duke would haggle with him over the size of the land he can take. But this Raymond is really a snake in human flesh. The fire explosion talisman is becoming more popular than ever. If he give it to him, then it wouldn't be something exclusive anymore actually. The 10% of the factory's production is also not a small amount. Also, the issue of joint defense would be a restriction for him, and in the future, it might do more harm than good. If one day there was an attack on the Altons, he will have to defend them. And guaranteeing that they would win double the lands they lost. Huge pressure, to say the least. The 60,000 talismans became a mere joke now. He would have to fund many more if needed to make sure the Duke goes far. That guy? But come to think of it, the area of? The old earldom of Burton and the lands of the Tai family together really make up about half of the Duchy of Alton. This, and not even including the new lands he took from Doliver, and are now counted within the Duchy of Alton, and all of this is not something that can be sold cheaply. However, all these lands and the new Duke title are on one side, and the Burton family members rejoicing when they get their revenge from the Marquis Tai is on the other side. He knows very well how much they hate him. At last, Robin sighed, stood up, and extended his hand to Duke Raymond. "I accept." Chapter 142, Pyramid. Raymond also stood up and put his hand in Robin's and shook it with a big smile. But when he went back and sat down again, his smile faded a little by a little as he looked next to him in the direction of Galen with a strange frowned look. And he found that Galen he returned him the same look. It is as if they are asking each other what just happened. "Sigh, you have a greedy son-in-law, Galen. We came with high morales that soon we will add new lands to us. But this little brat stole our current lands from us, and the problem is, we are satisfied with it." "Ha ha." Raymond laughed hysterically. With the creator of the talismans himself promised to back him up till he gets double what he lost, then what he has to fear. Arg, don't remind me. He's really a little scoundrel. He didn't even consider that I am his father-in-law and stole nearly a quarter of my lands. But that's okay. With the talismanic methods we have now, and the talisman Robin will provide us before the war, we can both drill deep into the lying water kingdom. Galen's eyes twinkled. Robin chuckled and did not fall into the trap of those two, and tried to change the subject now that he has what he wanted. The exchange of little talks and luffs continued for about an additional half an hour. Then Robin sent his palace guards to summon Patriarch Brian and General Edward to attend. An agreement of this magnitude was impossible to remain hidden, especially from these two. Even Mila was also summoned to attend again as the one in charge of the Talisman Academy these days. After the three arrived, and Galen quickly summarized the general situation for them. The shock was the headline, but reactions varied. Veteran General Edward began to think about how to put this huge amount of talismans into use, and made plans to train a strong army for the Burton family to defeat the two Marquis families before heading back to his own family, and have the honor of initiating such a huge war. He will have a lot of work to do in the coming period. As for Mila, she went to pinch Robin's arm because he uprooted such a large piece of land from her father even after their marriage agreement. What use is this marriage agreement then? As for the patriarch, when the explanation came to the point that if the Burton family were to come out victorious in the next two wars, they would be independent of the Altons and will only answer to the royal family, as the 10th Duke family, he fainted. After Galen finished explaining the agreement, a new, lengthy round of consultations took place, lasting about 2 hours, between the Dukes, General Edward, Patriarch Brian, and even Mila, who knows the inside conditions of the Bradleys and Burtons. As for Robin, he took his leave from this session and went to prepare what he had promised: 2 manuals for the method of making the 6th level fire explosion talisman and the other for making the 5-second darkness talisman. If any other was in his position, he would shed a tear with every line he drew and every letter he wrote, as he was about to hand over 2 of his most precious inventions. But Robin prepared the 2 little books quickly and almost without emotion. Everything has a price tag, and the price this time was more than satisfactory. In fact, if Robin had made the same offers to the Dukes at any other time, they would have flatly refused. No one would be willing to give up all these lands at any cost. But now that they have a huge goal ahead of them, and they need their gold and strength, their current possessions are no longer of the same value as before. After 2 hours, Robin came back with the 2 books and distributed them to the Dukes. Then he sat with everyone again, trying to understand what they were saying, but to no avail. Talking about military strategies, extensions, the division of tasks during the attack, the financial situation, and the conditions inside the dukedoms during the absence of their armies. It was as if the 5 were speaking in a strange language that Robin did not hear before in his life. Putting his head in heavenly laws research all those years paid off in that field, but made him largely ignorant about almost everything else. And Robin did not like this much. Fortunately, the session did not last for too long. After an additional hour, the 2 dukes stood up and each left for his duchy, carrying with them the priceless techniques. A week already passed since the 2 dukes' meeting. The agreed date for the start of the war is in 5 years, but everyone is behaving as if it is 5 hours later. Mila did not tell any of the talisman masters about the matter, but she began to put pressure on them to increase their production. Whoever makes 2 talismans daily, Mila forced him to train his soul and put more pressure and rewards for him to reach 3 talismans a day. She and Zara also started training new rune masters on how to make darkness and vitality talismans to provide the needed amounts in 5 years. The patriarch began working to provide sufficient funds to pressure work on new factories and beast farms to supply the needs for the armaments and talismans for the coming period. General Edward immediately began to gather more soldiers. Currently, the Burton family's army is made up of 2 parts. The first and most prepared part consists of only about 10,000 soldiers, and they are all present in the new lands, and most of the saints and knights of the family are there. As for the second part, they are the army located next to Jura City, consisting of 90,000 soldiers without experience and lightly armed, and there are little as no knights or cavalry among them. These were the goal for the incoming period. This new army must be quickly strengthened within 5 years. They have to be strong enough to be able to fight 2 Marquis families in succession in addition to their allies, if any appeared. As for Robin, he has caged himself in his room for the whole week. Everyone thought he was back to invent something new, until he finally came out and went to the patriarch directly and told him, "Build me a pyramid." Huh. Robin's request was so strange that the patriarch couldn't give a normal response. "I want a 4-sided pyramid, at least 5 meters high and at least 3 meters wide at its base. It must be made entirely of high-quality metals, preferably of those that are used in making medium-grade categorized weapons." Robin was talking nonstop. Why would you want something like that? It would cost the production of several furnaces for months, and when it is finished it would be useless. The patriarch was surprised. "You will know when I'm done. Just answer this. When that pyramid is finished, will it be possible to destroy it?" Robin asked. The patriarch shook his head. Destroy it? Even the sages wouldn't make a dent on that metal pyramid if they attacked it day and night. Good. Give the orders to build a few stone fire furnaces here in Jura, and I will personally make the runes on them, and dedicate them only for the construction of the pyramid. As you wish. The patriarch sighed and replied. Now he has another big task above his head to finish. One more thing, Robin added. Send my palace a copy of all the law techniques our family members use to build their knighthood pillars. All right, the patriarch enthusiastically replied, not knowing why Robin asked, but it would certainly result in something good. Do you have another request? Yes. Forbid anyone who bears the Burton family name and is in the 10th level from building their knighthood pillars from today onwards. And I need a list of the names and ages of all the family members who have reached their level to be between 8 and 10. I was planning to motivate our youngsters to build their knighthood pillars during the few coming years before the war. We have lost too many knights. Robin smiled. Don't worry, you'll have your knights before the war. I also want you to send Billy to make lists about the sons of the families who have sworn allegiance to us in levels between 8 and 10 and prepare to send them here too, at any given moment. Robin, what exactly are you going to do? A worrying feeling began to strike the patriarch's chest. Something that should have been done a long time ago, Robin replied, then turned around and left. Chapter 143, 3 Issues. The following days passed relatively quietly for everyone. In that meeting, Robin found several problems that he didn't put into his mind before. Dangerous problems that made him rethink the entire system that he was following. That is why Robin divided his day into several parts to treat those problems as much as he could. The first problem was the productivity of the rune masters. If they did nothing but make the fire explosion talismans, they would undoubtedly be able to make much more than the 60,000 fire explosion runes by the end of the 5 years period. But that was not all they had to do. Robin promised to deliver thousands of dark, vitality, and sound talismans as well, and the first 2 take more time to craft than the fire explosion talismans. Even though he didn't say how many of them exactly he would supply, he has to be generous to leave a good impression on the 2 dukes and ease the future deals. This is regardless of the auction house's need for at least hundreds of single-use sound talismans per month, because it is one of the main sources of income for the family, and in order to meet part of the wide demand for it. After all, Billy's plan to promote sound talismans carrier jewelry has worked. Owning at least one of them is now a must for every noble in the kingdom. Even disregarding these 2 points, the Burton family itself needs their own tons upon tons of talismans of all kinds before the next great war erupts. Mila understood that well, and as the only saint in this field, she took the initiative to hold the Rune Academy with a grip of fire and steel. Seeing the great pressure on the rune masters, Robin decided to go by himself daily to give lectures for 2 hours on the best ways to draw runes fast, save soul energy as much as possible, how to use the soul replenishing technique while working, etc. He even went against Mila's advice and told them about the wars to come and explained the situation to make them understand what was going on around them and to make them more aware of how tight their schedule is, and not to hate Mila for doing what she is doing. He also devoted 2 more hours a day to drawing various advanced runes with them to fill the current deficit, especially those that are dedicated to being sold at the auctions. And after the first 4 hours of the morning at the academy ends, he heads to the Grand Library in the administrative area. This was his personal treatment for the second problem he encountered during the meeting, general information. He discovered in that situation that he could no longer live his life engrossed in studying only the heavenly laws. He no longer lived in a cave. The more famous and powerful he became, the more his influence increased, the more the expectations of those around him would increase as well. He can't remain focused on studying laws forever and leave all other decisions in the hands of the Patriarch or General Edward Bradley, while he sits smiling and nods his head in important meetings. This is not the first time he goes to a library, though. He came several times or asked Zara to borrow books for him after he returned to the family. But what he read was too focused as well, only related to herbs or materials with elements so that he could make inks for the various runes. But this time his goal is more extensive. The arts of war, battle strategies, the arts of public administration, even the various types of minerals and stones, the geographical distribution of kingdoms and noble families, and the history of each of them. His target was almost the entire library, but which the strength of his soul, which increased after using the technique of strengthening the soul, reading and comprehension became much faster for him than the average person. He was flipping pages extremely fast, too fast that it seemed as if he is reading the first letter on each page before he flip it, not knowing that he has already memorized everything in it. And this continues for another 4 hours a day, reading a few thick books before leaving. A&S after each visit to the library. He goes to Uncle Tim's restaurant alone or with one of his acquaintances, sometimes even with one of the new rune masters. And then he goes to inspect the charity of feeding the poor and the homeless from afar after it has become hugely funded and has many branches around the city, looking at those skinny faces. Becoming more rosy after eating was the best way to seal his 8 hours of hard work. Then he returns home for his favorite time of the day, research. He needed a quick solution to the biggest problem he had discovered during his meeting with the two dukes. It was when Galen asked him, even if you took his lands, how would you kill him? Robin responded spontaneously at the time, but the question stuck in his head. With the reign of talismans and classified weapons, Robin can equip an army to conquer any land he wants in the 8 kingdoms. But what about the heads? What if he had to face high-ranking saints or even sages? The most powerful person in the family is Brian, a level 26 saint who is close to 1,000 years old. There is not much hope that he will have another breakthrough in the future. The second most powerful person after him in the family is Saint David, who is only level 24. There are only 5 saints in the family, and about 70 knights capable of fighting, and not many of them crossed level 14, which is bad. The family's financial foundations have made a leap like no other family in history, and they have gained lands and power that even the most impudent of them would not have dared to dream of. But the foundations of individual power are still wretched to the uttermost degree. And now it's time to find a solution to this. Robin's retreat for a week after the meeting was specifically to find a solution to this problem, and quickly. Of course, he realizes that it is impossible for him to make his saints strong enough to kill the Rufus family in 5 years. But he has to lay future foundations to strengthen this family. He has to make strong knights. And after a whole week of thinking about this matter, his best idea was to train the new generation on the major laws he had invented. But 2 problems stood before him. The first is that they had to swear that they would preserve the techniques and not leak them. But how many times did he have to make oath panels to suffice all of them? And that surely wouldn't be the last time he needs this kind of mass oath-taking project. Trusting these large numbers of people wouldn't be good. Well, trusting anyone isn't any good either. After a deep thought, he finally came to the idea of the pyramid that he requested from the patriarch. The main idea of how to solve this problem formed in his head already, but he hasn't finished it completely yet. He decided to have the patriarch make the pyramid as he progresses more into this. The second problem is, how does he transfer the techniques to these large numbers? Of the 56 talisman masters, one of them was able to leak the soul techniques. So what would happen if the major heavenly law techniques books were handed over to hundreds of youngsters? At least some of them would lose it and have it go into the hands of his enemies. These weren't some soul techniques that are useless in battles and can be ignored in the big scheme of things. They are perfect major heavenly law techniques that might turn the world upside down if they were leaked. And this problem has not been resolved until now. With this daily schedule, the first 2 months after the meeting passed in an intense atmosphere. They were extremely heavy for everyone who works in any administration position and knows what is going on and what will happen after less than 5 years. They were already pressured with the development of the new lands and rebuilding their family, and now there is something else for them to worry about. And Robin knew this quite well. If it was in his hands, he would have refused to jump into this and refused Galen. But if this chance to get rid of his 2 enemies is missed, it was unknown when will he get another one. And there is a big chance he never has another chance at all. It was a now or never situation. Chapter 144, 10 month. There is also the field of construction and handicrafts which witnessed great expansion, but also a lot of pressure. Those who work in that field multiplied several times in the recent years, especially as the city started to grow in size and in wealth, and many of the old building began to rebuild, and Billy started the new Sound Talisman Carriers production lines. But even with so many new hands in the industry business as a whole, it was not easy to find one that was not busy making something. And such, making the furnaces that Robin requested was quickly proved not to be as easily made as they thought. Nevertheless, the patriarch managed to hardly gather enough labor to make 10 stone-fired furnaces during the 2 months, and they were shipped to an empty warehouse near the administrative area. Within 1 week, Robin drew the inscriptions on the 10 furnaces, and a few professionals with hundreds of amateurs and Burton family members began to work officially on the manufacture of the metal pyramid in complete secrecy away from the eyes of everyone. With that matter done, Robin ignored whatever happens in that warehouse for now and went back to his daily routine. During the past 2 months, he had already laid the foundations for dealing with the 2 problems that are related to strengthening the new generation in the Burton family, especially the second problem that is related to the transfer of techniques in a safe manner. His initial idea is to take advantage of direct contact with the soul again, sending information directly to memory. This means that he will have to find a way to mentally inject the information he wants into a physical object, and then find a way to transfer that information directly to the targeted person's mind. This will not only prevent boring writing and transcribing, but will also increase the level of comprehension of any information that will be transmitted using this way. Since a person will not ignore any word or forgets another after prolonged reading, but everything will be transferred as it is to the memory area of his soul all at once. When the idea came to his head, he started walking this path, even though he would still need something to inject the information into first, and technically, the main issue is still there. It was still a good way to start, and as he went through that path, he tried to find additional branches for the issue of content protection. But even that, he did not have to think about it for long. Transferring the information to the soul directly does not need the scroll to be moved from its location in the first place. If Robin holds that scroll in his hand, a few thousand can take what is in it without touching it, which will make the scroll under permanent protection. And if there is a reason why the transfer of information requires sending a scroll to another place away from the protection it deserves, that is also easy. Single-use seal. After activating the transmission of information for one time, the object will become worthless. Whoever wants to steal it after that will have a nice surprise. Happy with his train of thoughts, Robin immediately began preparing to compile all these thoughts into an actual pattern. And with that, another 3 months passed, until the patriarch himself came to Robin's house and escorted him to a huge warehouse next to the administrative area. There was no one in the warehouse but the 2 of them. Around them were the 10 huge furnaces circled around the warehouse, and in the middle, there stands a huge pyramid. Wow! Even Robin was amazed when he saw it. A 5-meter-high pyramid made entirely with high-level heavy metals. Just standing next to it made him in awe of this huge figurine. Its smooth surface and high luster added a great aesthetic sense to it, as well, and gave it a luxurious look. The patriarch beside him nodded. Pretty cool, huh? But what next? What do you need it for? We could have used this amount of minerals and time to arm an entire squad in the army. The patriarch was not fond of the idea of the pyramid, which is of no use other than its majestic appearance. Robin smiled, but did not respond to the patriarch's sarcasm, but rather changed the subject. Send those furnaces to Billy or anywhere else. The warehouse should remain dedicated to the pyramid only from now on. Close all entrances, exits, and windows except for the main entrance, and there put a heave guard to protect the place, especially during my stay in here. No one should be allowed to enter. The patriarch sighed but nodded. Give me 3 days to remove those huge furnaces, after which no one will enter here except you and me. But will you tell me what you are going to do? Robin smiled as he was still looking at his pyramid. Tell me, Uncle Brian, what do you see in front of you? A big, useless, shiny thing. Robin chuckled. Anyone would see before him a shining metal pyramid, but I see the largest oath tablet even made in this world. The patriarch turned to look at Robin, who was standing next to him with eyes wide open. What? For the next 2 months, Robin stopped going to the Grand Library temporarily, and he also stopped going to the academy to give them lessons or help them draw anything. And that time was devoted to visiting the empty warehouse every day. Now his life has turned again upside down after the pyramid was finished. He would spend the whole night in the warehouse. Then in the morning, he would go back to search for the best way of transferring information and techniques. And of course, using the soul replenishing technique to prepare himself for the night again. His idea for the pyramid was to make a medium upon which a huge oath rune can be drawn to accommodate a very large number of slots without having to make a new one every day. But this was not easy as it seems. Robin previously squeezed his thoughts to make the 10-slot oath tablet, which was pretty much the maximum he could reach at that time. And now he needs to reconfigure that to open up many new slots on the same metal medium and ink, and not just double what he did before, but he needs hundreds or even thousands of slots with the same rune. He would draw a little and set by the pyramid again, trying to figure out his next step. Sometimes he would wipe what he did before and draw over it. That is why most of the time in the warehouse was spent on studying and researching more than the drawing the rune itself. After another month, Robin was able to link his ideas regarding the transfer of techniques and created the first rune that can communicate with the soul directly and cross the barrier of the mediums represented by the six senses: hearing, seeing, smelling, touching, tasting, and spiritual sense. From now on, he could make the needed seals upon ant medium wants, like a small scroll for example, and pour whatever information he wants using his soul only. Then activate the seal and make it ready to be used as many as tens of thousands of times. As long as soul power gets in, technically one of the seals would use this power to replenish and fix any damage in the scroll, which will ensure letting it be used for many years. Of course, these kinds of scrolls are dangerous and are meant to be only with Robin himself of the incoming family patriarchs. They will hold Robin's true legacy for generations to come. This was a great discovery that opened many doors for more talismans of this type, especially in the field of sound talismans. If this was implied to the sound talismans, it would be ideal for stealth missions, and no one would look stupid when he is talking to a ring. But there are more important things now. Over the next 2 months, Robin sank into the completely deserted warehouse and devoted all his time to finish the new inscription on the pyramid until it was completely finished. The last line drawn on the pyramid marked 10 months since the meeting with the two dukes. Although Robin had previously been happy that his eye of truth had developed and would take less time to do his research in the future, his bad luck made the first 2 things he has to search had nothing to do with a specific pattern. Rather, he was trying to renew the operating seals, make connection seals between the different functions, create a chain seal for the multiple slots, etc. Finally, after a long day's work, Robin came down from the top of the pyramid on which the inscriptions had disappeared and returned to his nature. He stood under it and looked up with a big smile. Then he nodded strongly and left the warehouse, heading to the Patriarch's office. Chapter 145, A Bloody Night. In a huge wooden warehouse, thousands of miles away from Jura, there are 2 level 10 trying to escape from the back exit. Peon shouted and pointed in a certain direction. On it, one of the knights next to him answered and jumped towards the place that Peon had pointed out with 2 other knights behind him. Then he pointed in another direction and shouted, "Theo, I will leave cleaning the eastern side to you. Don't allow anyone to escape from there." Swoosh swoosh. Without warning, blood started splattering over the walls of the eastern side. Tens of heads flew around and bounced on the floor like crickets, but no one saw what caused this hideous sight. All they know is that there is something lurking in their shadows. "Come over here." A shout came from the center of the building, as a milky white tornado rose more than 14 meters and began to destroy all around it. The moment the tornado appeared, the roof turned to ashes and dozens were killed. "Arg! It is the White Flame Demon and his squad. I surrender. Please stop." "No. Why are they here?" The shouts rose and the weapons were lowered. All their courage and determination to fight disappeared with the appearance of the famous White Fire. They knew their enemy now. The ominous White Flame Demon squad that chases the gathering spots of the rebels wherever they go. The squad that all of its members are soaked from their toenails to their hair with the blood of any human that thought about joining the rebels. "Caesar, there are 3 individuals that are trying to flee at high speed. They are most likely knights. Got to the northwest to intercept them in the 200 meters mark, but careful. It looks like a tough fight," Peon shouted. "Finally, you take care of things here. Theo, Alfred, come with me." Caesar stopped the flame tornado around him and leaped north in haste, and behind him, 2 shadows followed close. After Caesar left, Peon jumped to the highest point of the wooden warehouse and began to say the new orders. "First company, surround the place. Second company, gather weapons from those who surrendered and arrest them. Third company, attack everyone who has not yet fallen on their face. Fourth company, go to the mud hut 100 meters to the southeast and arrest those in it. Fifth Company. Sir, let my company go to aid Caesar's company. 3 knights might be too many for them. One of the knights advanced towards Peon and gave a slight bow. Listen and obey your orders, 7th Company officer. Your lord Caesar and Theo will take care of their assignment. Peon replied furiously, then returned to continue what he is doing. He knew very well the abilities of his 2 brothers after they rose to the 12th level of equestrian. Yes, groups of 3 knights began to rush in succession to carry out what they were ordered to. Although some of them are stronger than Peon and all of them are older than him, they moved to carry out their tasks without an additional word. Peon has already become a high-ranking officer in the army after reaping many achievements, and his ability to survey his surroundings and identify every big and small threat is unparalleled among them, especially after he broke through to the 12th level of knighthood. Their only regret is that they can't fight alongside their leader, the White Flame Demon, and can only watch his glory from afar this time. And that didn't take too long. Even before Peon finished saying all his commands for the 8th Company, 2 white flame tornadoes erupted exactly 200 meters to the northwest without warning. Half an hour later, Caesar, Alfred, and Theo returned to the wooden warehouse, but not as energetic as they left it. Their sight was more tragic than the corpses lying around them. All remaining resistance is already over. The company that went to the mud house came back soaked in the blood of their enemies, and they are all busy tying up their new slaves. Byun jumped down when he saw the trio, smiling. Looks like you had a good fight. Good luck. Arg, my spine. Dave, where the hell are you? Get me some wine and meat. And a few vitality talismans, Caesar shouted at one of the knights. Then he collapsed and sat on one of the headless corpses after a few more steps, and turned to reply at Peon. Don't remind me. One of them was a normal spy at level 13, and the other was an elite at level 15. But their third was a level 16 knight. What the hell is a knight of this level doing in a shithole like this? It was common to find knights across the new lands. They empower the rebels, attacks the Burton's production lines to slow down their work, even try to assassinate the Burtons and the Bradley's knights and important figures if a chance arises. That is why the hunt for the rebels is always done by squads of knights, as sometimes they find gathering spots that have more than 20 enemy knights. But seeing knights that are above level 15 was very rare. The other 2, Theo and Alfred, fell tiredly in their places as well as. Theo was absent-minded trying to suppress his pain. In his chest was a small charred hole going all the way to his back. Peon could actually see through it. It was clearly caused by an extremely compressed lightning strike. As for Alfred, he was worse than the 2. His hair, his clothes, and all his body actually was partially fried. It visually suggests that he did not stop receiving lightning shocks for a moment. He did not seem to be very far from death. TSK Tisk, very lucky indeed. If I knew that there was one of them with such a high cultivation level, I would have come with you as well. Peon shook his head sorrowfully. It's been a few years since the rebellion war started, and since then they haven't thought of returning to Jura. This is the best place to train their combat abilities and explore more into their laws to find what Robin couldn't. Robin's work has elevated them and made them knights, but he wasn't someone who actually practiced these laws. He gave them the guidelines, and now they have to find their own. Just like the flame tornado, it was something that wasn't mentioned in the law technique, but Caesar discovered it with battle experience. And their father Robin also no longer needed their presence around him, since he is under the protection of many saints in the heart of Jura City. This is their home and life now. Then Peon continued. If I am not mistaken, I think they were intentionally slowing themselves down to make us lower our guard and tempt one of us to attack them. That is dangerous. We have to be more careful from now on. Well, never mind. For now, I will think of something later. Did you kill them? Peon paid no heed to Caesar's complaints, knowing full well that he was happy to find a good fight. They had not had the chance to fight someone with such strength in a fight to the death for over a month. Caesar took a deep breath and replied, We killed the 2 weak ones. The level 16 guy managed to escape, but it's okay. I grilled that motherfucker just fine and Theo cut off his right arm. If he doesn't die from his injuries, then at least we won't see him ever again. I'm sorry. If Brother Peon was with you, you would have killed. That night, Alfred gathered a bit of his strength and spoke with a weak voice. Don't be too hard on yourself. I saw your flames, you strengthened Caesar's attacks, and it seems that you contributed a lot to taking the blows, ha ha ha. Don't worry, next time you will see your big brother Peon sending wind blades right and left. Peon laughed under his black mask. During the past years of fighting almost daily, it brought him back a sense of brotherhood and brought him back some of his previous laughter. Caesar nodded. You are right. He has already learned the flame tornado that I came up with recently. The kid has a good future in playing with fire. That's normal. Who doesn't learn quickly in such a hostile environment will become them. Peon paused mid-speech and looked toward his ring before passing energy into it, and continued. Hey, Uncle Billy, did you find our next target so quickly? We have a few injuries right now, and what? Yes. After the glow on the ring disappeared, Peon looked at Caesar and said one word, strange. What is strange? What does Uncle Billy want from us? Asked Caesar. Our father has requested our immediate return to Jura City. Peon replied in a surprised voice. Chapter 146. You sons have what? 2 weeks later, Jura City. Father! A joyful shout resounded inside Robin's palace, as Caesar sped up and fell and hugged him hard. It had been a little less than 3 years since they last met. Haha, welcome back, you little rascal. Oh, you let your beard grow? It looks good on you. Robin couldn't find anything to say in a situation like this, so he changed the subject. Caesar grabbed his beard after letting his father go. Do you really think that? At first, I decided to let it grow up because it was the best way to hide the remaining childhood features on my face, and then I just left it because I didn't have time to trim it. Oh, I see that you two have reached puberty as well. Congratulations to you, ha. It's been 6 years already since their bodies were reshaped. Now their new bodies are 18 years old. Both of them gained taller and more handsome than their previous bodies, though Caesar was a little taller. Their growth is about to stop, and whatever is left of the features of childhood and baby fat have almost completely disappeared. It would take another 2 or 3 years before they will stop growing physically, and their features will stay as it is for a very long time before it starts changing again because of aging. That's if they ever give their bodies the chance to. As their aging process will begin to slow down to match their level of strength, and if they continue to get stronger quicker than their body continuing the aging process, then this will be their shape for a very long time. Yeah, the beard is good on you. I think you should leave it as it is. Hey, you two, what are you doing in the back? Come on here. Robin walked up to Theo and Peon, who were quietly standing in the back when they arrived. We salute our Lord. Peon and Theo bowed when they found Robin coming. Lord? Who is Lord, you idiot? Didn't I say you are my children now? Robin did not stop his steps and went and hugged the 2 young men as well. Welcome back. The 2 looked at each other, smiled, then nodded at Robin, and Peon replied for both of them. Thank you, Father. Before the 2 left for the war on the rebels, Robin was still a teenager, but now he is the same height as Theo and even slightly taller than Peon. At least Father now wouldn't be too strange if someone heard it. Then Peon walked over and hugged the now 14 years old young lady Zara, who was standing smiling on the side with her eyes full of tears, and started asking each other about their experiences during this period. Even Robin got busy chatting with Billy for a few minutes, until Robin spotted a youth out of the corner of his eyes. He was standing far behind and was staring at him with 2 sparkling eyes as if he was looking at a god. Robin stopped what he was saying to Billy mid-sentence and shouted while pointing at the youth, WH. What are you doing here? Me. Big brother Caesar said it is okay if I want to come. Alfred answered and tilted his head to the ground. You're big what? What is this? Why are you covered with so many injuries? You even used several vitality talismans to be in this shape. Who did this to you? Robin could see everything about the prince's condition with his eyes of truth, and it gave him a little panic attack. Well, we had a huge fight with several knights recently, so... The prince scratched his head. Caesar, what the hell is going on here? Why are you dragging His Highness the little prince behind you? He was supposed to finish his training in 1 month and return to the capital. What is he still doing here? Robin took 2 nervous steps and grabbed Caesar's ear. It is not my fault. He came to me acting arrogant at first and demanded that I finish his learning process quickly so that he could go. But since he knew he was about to learn the major law of fire, he couldn't control himself. He stuck to me like glue everywhere, calling me big brother. And after he knew that the law what he knows is a perfect major law and is even better than the one that the Flame Empire has, and that Theo and Peon also have perfect major heavenly laws techniques, he cried for 2 days straight in his room and then kept asking to stay by our side. Since then he ate, drank, trained, and even fought our enemies with us. And M, 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 M. Mila opened her eyes wide and started stuttering as if she was trying to say something, but no words came out. Father, I think your fiancé is broken. Did I say something I shouldn't have? Caesar asked when he saw her acting like this. Tisk, leave her for a bit, and she will get better. Robin wasn't worried about Mila hearing conversations like this since, like Alfred, she took an oath to keep his secrets safe before she started learning how to draw the runes from Zara. And as his future wife, she should start to learn things like this sooner than later. Then he continued, still holding Caesar's ear. Are you saying that you involved the little prince in the war against the rebels and endangered his life? Look at his cute royal face. Is this a face that should be endangered? It is full of scars. You want his brother and uncle to kill me? Is this how you reward me for feeding you and wiping your, but when you were a baby? My face is full of scars too, and Theo still has a little hole in his chest, but you just spoke about my cool beard. Caesar answered gloomily, looking down. Shut up. You are my generals, you are my hand and feet, and that is what you should be doing. If I found you one day not full of scars, I will make some for you myself. Robin squeezed Caesar's ears tighter. Sorry that I made you angry. Your Excellency, I explained to my older brother William that I am the one who asked to stay because it is a good environment for training. Please do not separate from Big Brother Caesar. I benefit a lot by following those 3 great ones. Alfred spoke pleadingly. Everyone looked at him strangely after this sentence, but Caesar laughed out loud and looked at Robin. Ah, see? That person was behaving like a king in the 8 Kingdoms tournament and bravely faced many saints while Peon was captured, and he even fought with us for months with his hands soaked in the blood of hundreds of men. But he turns into a cute house cat whenever your name comes out. Robin looked at Alfred for a long time, then looked back at Mila, who still hadn't recovered from her shock. Those 2 knew before that he is the creator of the talisman system, but they didn't blink. At first, they both only thought of how to make the most advantage they could from him. Now that they had heard of the perfect major laws techniques, their entire being had completely flipped, even though they already knew that he is a genius researcher. This shouldn't have happened, especially Mila, who has already studied runes and can craft most of them. He didn't tell her before because there was no need, not because he wanted to keep it from her. Only now did he know that he underestimated the major heavenly laws too much. At last, he let go of Caesar's ear and rubbed his forehead a little, and then spoke to Alfred. It's all right. As long as you are the one who wants this and your family knows that it is your decision and that I am not responsible for your safety, you can stay with them. Thinking about it, I may have a mission for you today. Come on, sit down, you all too have a seat. We have a few major new arrangements today to talk about. All right. A big smile appeared on Alfred's face when he heard that he was welcome to attend this gathering. Everyone came forward and found their spots and sat down. Even the absent-minded Mila was pulled by Zara and seated her next to her. Then Robin continued. The patriarch is coming in a little while. When he arrives, we will start the conversation, and we may. Billy, come sit down. Why are you still standing? Major heavenly laws. Caesar said that all your 3 sons have. Perfect. Major heavenly laws techniques. Billy muttered in a low voice, then fell onto his back, fainting. Chapter 147. I alone am right. Uncle Billy. Uncle Billy. Uncle Billy. Can you hear me? I will go get an onion. Billy. Robin, what happened to him? Why is he lying on the ground? Asked the patriarch right after he entered the main door. I don't know, Uncle Brian. I think he fainted when he heard that Caesar, Theo, and Peon have perfect major heavenly law techniques. Robin shrugged. They have what? The patriarch halted his steps towards Billy, and his gaze turned in shock, and soon even some fear could be seen in it. No again. You are the grown-up one. Don't act like them now. I still have a lot to say today, and you are all already like this. You know what? Robin didn't continue his talk. He waved his hand and sent a small white fireball toward Billy's nose. 2 seconds later. Whoa, what the F? Good. You are awake. Now come sit down. Robin left him trying to put out his nose and make sure it was not damaged too much, and he went to his chair. The patriarch also swallowed his saliva and moved towards the seats, with heavy feet, absent mind, as if he had 1,000 things going on in his head. Robin looked around and found that outside his kids, there was a heavy, strange atmosphere pressuring the room. How can he open a discussion with them when they are like this? He remained silent for another half a minute, and then spoke with a heavy tune. Do you know why I brought you together today? Everyone looked at each other nervous, and eventually, the patriarch asked, Why? Because I will be busy tomorrow, ah. Robin burst out laughing, but he heard no other laughter other than Zara's and found the others looking at him with weird looks. Ahem. I see you don't have a good sense of humor. Can you get out of whatever going on in your heads and focus with me now, please? Focus with you? Billy exploded. Why didn't you tell us they were using major heavenly laws? Are you trying to kill us? Right, if you had told us, we would have kept your boys as secret as possible instead of wreaking havoc wherever they went. If someone found out what they have, and this information leaked out, the Wind and Flame Empires wouldn't be very happy. No, even the 8 kingdoms will make sure to do everything they can until they get them. This is a catastrophe that could have wiped us out. Even the Black Sun royal family is no exception. No offense, the patriarch looked at Alfred with the corner of his eyes. None taken, Alfred replied. Well, he can't say anything about that actually, as it is true. Would you all calm down a bit? How would they know? You can't tell what Peon is doing just by looking at him. His power is unseen and can be mistaken with any other minor heavenly law of the wind path. And no one can tell what Theo is doing either, because there is no other man in the history of this world that used the major heavenly law of darkness. It would be mistaken as a minor law as well. The only one that can attract some suspicion is Caesar, but even that you don't need to worry about. I assure you that what he is using is different from the Flame Empire's major heavenly law of fire. With this being said, how would anyone notice them? Until this moment, did any of you doubt them? You all thought it was minor laws as well. Even the royal family didn't catch anything abnormal about it. How can you be sure that the major heavenly law of fire you made is different from the one in the Flame Empire? Have you seen theirs? And if it is different, can they both still be the major heavenly law of fire? I asked Mila. Robin shook his head. Most of the laws in this world, if not all, are tainted by the other laws surrounding it. There is no single law that can be found and studied in its pure nature. You will always find at least one inseparable companion with it. For example, you can't watch the light and say this is it, and oh. You also see many branches of the wind path, the earth laws and the tiny dust in the atmosphere, the life laws in the microorganisms around you, even the effect of the void laws that differs from one place to another, and that is a few of many. Whoever tries to comprehend a law that is not pure, what the technique at the end will be like. This is exactly why every law technique that you are using unpure. I dare say that there is no technique in this world that is 70% pure. That is a little too far-fetched. You are not talking about a technique or two here, but every single one in existence. All of us and our ancestors have been using these techniques for tens of thousands of years. Are you saying that everyone is wrong and you alone are right? The patriarch frowned. This is too hard to believe. Robin replied directly, Yes. The heavenly law techniques all over the world are good enough to be used for a certain hay, but the higher the stage of a technique, the more its flaws become apparent. This is one of the reasons why it is so difficult to discover the next stage of any law technique. While some laws are impossible to even find its second stage, and at the third stage of a law technique of this caliber, it will be too full of flaws and loopholes that it would be impossible to advance to the fourth stage, which is why no one in history has surpassed the sagehood limit and entered level 41. Everyone started looking at each other without saying a word. Even Robin's 4 kids were unaware of this. After about a minute of trying to comprehend what they just heard, Billy asked, So what about the techniques you are making? Is it flawless? Is that what you mean? Is the main law of fire that Caesar uses different from that in the Flame Empire? Robin chuckled. When I intend to research for a certain law, my friend, I search in it alone and isolate everything else from it. This is a power that only I possess, and no one in this world has gained it before me, and who knows when will another one come again after me. That is why the technique comes out completely pure with no flaws or loopholes in it, or at least 99% pure, to exaggerate what I am not certain of. But trust me, even at 99% off pureness, it is still nothing that whatever other technique in existence. When it comes to his ability, Robin would always speak confidently and pridefully, and it was not empty. The all-seeing God was clear that he was the first to gain the path of truth in this world. Then he continued, I will give you an example. The secondary law that I gave to own new nobles in the new lands and sent to the royal family. In fact, it is much weaker than the fire shard's minor law, even when it is discovered in nature, but when I created its technique, it became equivalent to the fire shard's flawed technique in strength, and perhaps even a little stronger. Knowing this, you may answer your own question. What about the fourth stage of technique? Is it possible with your techniques? The patriarch understood something and quickly asked, if given enough time, and me developing my own ability to a certain degree, then sure, I don't see a reason why I can't do it. Robin nodded. Sniff, sniff, sniff. While everyone was in shock, trying to absorb Robin's words and connect him to what was happening around them, a sound of wailing sounded beside them. Alfred started crying again. He took a big gamble when he decided to listen to his uncle's advice and come here to take a minor law technique that he knows nothing about except that it is strong, and that it may not have a second stage in the future at all. But he found a perfect major law technique, free of flaws, stronger than the major heavenly law technique of the Flame Empire. And now they are talking about the fourth stage of it. The fourth stage? Hey, stop crying, or I will send you out. And you all, can we get into the topic already? Robin shouted. The meeting took a strange turn from what he was planning. Get into the topic? We haven't started yet, Billy replied, shocked, putting all this information on the table, and he hasn't started what he wanted to say yet? Chapter 148, 3 Special Forces. Robin ignored Billy's question and looked at the patriarch. Uncle Brian, have you collected the information I asked of you regarding those who are about to break into the knighthood? Yes. We stopped 6 cultivators who were about to build their pillars as you requested, and I also collected the needed information. We currently have 8,300 individuals that carry the family's name and their levels between 8 and 10. A large number. What about those under 50 years of age? Robin muttered, then asked. Oh, he get a small book out of his poke and started flipping its pages. If we deducted those, then the number would be roughly 3,700 individuals. The patriarch replied after thinking for a while. Robin nodded. Still a lot. But no problem, we can make it work with that. Work with what? What are you even talking about? Asked Billy annoyingly. The time has come, Billy. It is time to strengthen the foundations of this family and get past our shallow roots as a weak Earl family, Robin stated. The patriarch was surprised by the response and asked, Our shallow roots? What do you mean? Is that metal pyramid related to the matter? Robin nodded. Right. For those who don't know, the patriarch constructed a pyramid as per my request. It is almost 6 meters high, made from the metals used in low-level weapons, and over the past months I've used a massive rune to cover every inch of it. Now that pyramid can be used as a 50,000 slots oath tablet, 1,000 units. 50,000. Everyone shouted at once. That is a huge number. Robin nodded. Now, we won't have to make oath tablets anymore except for sale, or perhaps for use in our new lands. The existence of the pyramid made many things possible. Things like what? Asked Billy. A pyramid of this scale and those materials was certainly not built to be a landmark. Robin smiled with a slight smile. Starting tomorrow, start gathering the family members who are between the 8th and the 10th levels and whose ages are less than 50 years old. They will take an oath on the pyramid to never leak the family secrets and techniques to anyone, and to serve as the family's special forces for at least 100 years. After the 100 years, they can stay and continue their hard work for us, or they can leave it if they had enough of the life in the army. The patriarch understood something and asked quickly, You mean? Robin nodded and took out 4 small scrolls from a bag that was next to his chair and put them on a table, and he unfolded them all next to each other. They were all completely empty except for a small mark on the top of each scroll, and then he started pointing at them and said, The 3 scrolls starting from the right are the 3 major heavenly laws that the boys have. The 4th one is an energy cultivation technique, which I recently modified to speed up the absorption and filtering of energy. All of you can inject your spiritual sense into this fourth scroll now. Without delay, all the attendees passed their spiritual sense into it, and after doing it, everyone felt as if he had received a direct hit to his soul and sat motionless in his place. All of them remained in this state for about 10 minutes. Amazing. Amazing. Mila was the first to start speaking even with her eyes still closed. She already knew that Robin had developed a technique to cultivate the natural energy more quickly and effectively, but this is even better than she expected. This technique. Billy raised his voice in shock as he opened his eyes wide. Haha, I know. With the help of this technique in addition to the soul revitalizing pill, you can undoubtedly break through to level 22 during the current year. Even the patriarch sighed after opening his eyes. If I had this energy cultivation technique in my youth, I would have. Sigh. As for Robin's 4 sons, they were not as impressed. They know the original cultivation technique that Robin modified, and there wasn't that much of a difference. But Zara still carved the new energy cultivation technique into her mind. As for the 3 boys, they have their own energy cultivation techniques that match the law they use, so they really benefited nothing. Where were we? As for the family youths that are between the 8th and the 10th level who accepts the conditions I mentioned before and takes the oath on the pyramid, we will have them all pass their soul sense into the energy cultivation technique scroll first, then have them choose between fire, wind, and darkness major heavenly laws and pass their soul sense in their chosen scroll as well. But before they chose, you have to tell them what will they be doing. Those who choose the wind will be the vanguard of the army. They will work to bring news, carry out operations that require speed. They will also be trained as an elite archer's force that will back the armies for behind if needed. Those who choose the dark will work to master stealth and the arts of assassination and hunting inside enemy territory, and taking the officers' heads as the battle goes. They will always remain in the shadows, but the effect of their work will surely be legendary. As for those who choose the fire major heavenly law, they will be a special forces team belonging to the main army. They will take head-on battles. They will bear the most danger, but the most glory as well. My 3 children will be responsible for their training and leading the force of their own laws in and outside of the wars. You can say that they always are their personal guards. This is an order that can't be changed without further orders from me personally. These forces will be the hands and legs of the Burton family in the future. They must receive the best armaments, training resources, and the best treatment and respect for themselves and their families. Those guys will be the new generation of knights in our family. Theo stood and kept gesturing madly. What? I see. You are worried about communicating with your followers. Robin asked. Theo nodded quickly. I didn't think about that, to be honest. It is all right. I will find a solution for you before the personal training starts. Does anyone have another question? He asked and started looking around. Caesar looked at Peon excitedly, then replied in one breath, We are ready. Those 4 scrolls. Aren't you worried that they will be stolen like the soul techniques? If this happened, a certain disaster would occur. Even my father would start a war with you over those, asked Mila worriedly. That was overly honest. Anyway, there are no other copies than those 4 you are seeing, and they will always be with me. Even if some super guy manages to pass the saints of the royal family and take them from me, I have put a self-destruct seal that I can activate at any time and destroy the scroll with a thought. But if I am killed before I activate the seal, well, let's just say I don't care what happens to them next. Is there anything else? As for the patriarch and Billy, they didn't respond. They just seemed absent-minded. Sometimes they would smile, sometimes they would frown. It is as if they are swimming in their dream world, busy thinking about the possibilities behind those 3 special forces. Even the 3 boys didn't seem in their complete focus. Theo and Peon had a look of enthusiasm. It was clear that they were looking forward to their own special squads, and even began to make preparations and set training programs in their heads. As for Caesar, after his initial excitement, it died down quickly as he sat there silently, even frowning a little. But Robin didn't put much thought into this. I think no one has additional questions. Good. Patriarch, do we have new news about the Duchy of Evran? Robin asked, changing the subject. It was a rare event to see all the key members of the family. It is an ideal day to make the younger ones know the situation around them. The patriarch returned from his stupor but quickly closed his eyebrows. Of course, there are. The harassment and confiscation of vehicles reached their climax 2 months ago. They were even an armed conflict that a few individuals on our side died in. And instead of even apologizing to us, they are now demanding 10 gold coins for each person who crosses the border from our side to the new lands. And they will take 10% of all the armaments from the wagons that cross their lands. Chapter 149, A Little Escort Guard. They are asking for what? Robin stood up when he heard the patriarch's words and shouted, "Do you really give them that percentage?" The patriarch shook his head. Of course not. Who do you think me? This demand has reached us about a month and a half ago, and since then the movements of all the wagons stopped. At that time you were in isolation, so I did not tell you. And when you went out and said that you would host a meeting after your children came, I thought it would be better to wait until the day of the meeting to tell you. Robin returned to his seat, his eyebrows furrowed. Putting aside the issue of 10 golds per individual would stop any large battalions from being moved to and from our new lands. They want to buy 10% of all the weapons that cross their lands? That's simply 10% of all our weapons production. What purchase are you talking about? They want to take the 10%. The patriarch corrected him. What? Ha ha ha, what a big appetite. Robin's angry laugh resounded in every corner of his palace. What are we going to do? 10% of the production. After increasing the number of our factories, there is a large number of weapons. Our losses will be enormous. Our profits after deducting the production cost can't handle such heavy losses, Billy muttered. I will give them nothing. Not even a single handle of a weapon. These are our lands, and these are our weapons. Why would we give them anything? Robin hits his seat armrest. Things don't work like this. We have to find a permanent solution. If we keep ignoring them, then we might not be able to transport anything from our new lands, and all the projects we held there will be for nothing. The patriarch shook his head. Mila interjected. Can't we just stop them from attending the auctions? That will put them back in their places. This might bring a result. They don't seem to be caring about our reactions, and they might have put such reaction into their mind. For example, what are we going to do if they completely close the borders then? We will have to concede and allow them to come to the auctions again, as all our factories are there. Most of our veteran warriors, our knights, and even 3 saints from the family will be stuck there. Billy shook his head. After Billy's response, there were a few long minutes of silence. Duke Donald Everin must have thought a lot and gathered a lot of information before making this move. He knows very well that he holds the neck of the Burton family in his hand. That greedy bastard. He wants everything for nothing. Caesar mumbled. As for Robin's features, it becomes more uglier with every passing second. After the constant provocations and the lack of reaction from the Burton family made them more daring. And if they took that hit this time as well, next time they will demand half of what comes out of the factories, and maybe more. This will isolate the new lands. The factories and every project there will be worthless if didn't come out to the world, and with the projects shut again, the rebellions will be back stronger than ever before. The Duchy of Everin is undoubtedly the most powerful in the kingdom. The task of confronting the threat of the kingdom of Doliver for thousands of years has fallen upon them, and they have not failed in this task once. Also, this role made the royal family fully support them and provide them with everything they ask for, and raise the status of the Everin family alongside them through marriage and many other deals. With such deep ties, the royal family will definitely not allow anything to harm them, let alone help stop them for the sake of the Burtons, without an extremely large price at least. Everin is not a family to be messed with, but if they let them get away with whatever they wanted to do, they would no longer fear that there was some beast behind the Burton that makes the talismans for them. They would only see the Burton family as a fat cow they could milk for their benefit. After a few more minutes, Robin's features turned from bewildered and worried to an apparent resolve. Then he spoke. Billy, how many of our new noble family's members are able to fight in the new land? To be more specific, how many of them can join our army? If we count only the families that took the oath, then there are about 200,000 individuals who are able to join the army. But if we count the residents of the cities they govern and the sub-families affiliated with them, I think that the total number can reach 5 million easily. What? Robin nodded and then looked back at the patriarch. Uncle Brian, hand Billy enough money to pay our workers there for 4 years, and to raise an army of 150,000 soldiers. I think the 5 million gold coins we got recently from Prince William will be more than enough for this task. Make it that 80% of all the products to be targeted towards the normal infantry and cavalry. The other 20% assign it for our new 3 special forces. They must be heavily equipped, especially the fire forces. If the armaments for them are middle categorized, then it would be better. Alfred, tell your uncle that your 10% of the production will be stopped until the end of the incoming war, but I will compensate you after that. Mila, tell your father that his categorized weapons will be delivered in full before his war begin, so he doesn't need to worry if he didn't get any from now on. Huh? Robin, what are you up to? The patriarch quickly asked. Robin did not reply directly and returned to Billy. After you take the money, take General Edward with you and head to the new lands. Make us an army there and arm it with the classified weapons that come out of the factories. The army must be ready for a full war within 4 years. Robin ignored him again and continued looking at Billy. I will also send 50 rune masters with you who can make the fire explosion and vitality talismans. In the 4 years they will fund the army with enough talismans for a long war. I guess you will have to pay 520 gold coins to cross the border. Ha ha ha, it's okay. I will make sure it will be the last time we pay them. Robin laughed hysterically and then continued. After all of you have gone through, we will prevent all the nobles from the Duchy of Evern from attending any auction in Jura. Let them close the border then if they want, and I'll see how long it stays closed. The hell, I know it. The patriarch got fed up and started shouting. We are going to start a war against the 2 Marquis families in 4 years, and you give orders to attack another duchy? We are not even sure of defeating the 2 Marquis families. Robin laughed angrily. Ha ha. Calm down, uncle. Who said anything about a war against the Duchy of Evern? They also don't want a war. It is just that they don't think we are bold enough to issue one. I really wish to know where did they get this audacity from? He thinks if he strangles of weapon source, we wouldn't be able to raise our voice in front of him? Even if we don't have a good standing army, for now, we still have our talismans. Billy intervened. I think that bastard Donald Evern is underestimating us, probably because he was with you in the council in the capital during the attack on Dolliver, and knows we made only less than 8,000 talismans for the conquest of Dolliver, and we would have been nearly defeated in the war if not for their misinformation and their fear towards the unknown. Robin nodded. It should be it. He does not put us in his eyes. He wants to keep testing our limits until he takes the new lands for himself, or maybe more. He wants to milk us. Wait. You said you don't want a war with them? If you don't want one, then what is this army for? Asked the patriarch. Oh, those. Nothing important. It's just a little guard to escort our categorized weapons all the way from the new lands to Jura City in 4 years. I want to see who would dare stop this army. As for the announced reason, the rebels are active, and we have to protect our interests, of course. A devilish smile on Robin's face made those present feel a chill running down their backs. Chapter 150, Go Back to Work. Only a guard to escort the weapons caravan. What escorts would that need an entire army of 150,000 soldiers armed with categorized weapons and the talisman's output of 50 rune masters? But they all understood what he really means. This was not actually an escort force, but a sweeper. A sweeper that is ready to remove any obstacle in front of it. Robin certainly did not intend any good with this move. The patriarch muttered and looked at Billy and Mila with the side of his eye. This wasn't a direct declaration of war on the Duchy of Evern, but it was undoubtedly very close to being so. There is no need to think too much. In addition to the factors we discussed earlier, I believe that this man hates us because we took his borders and his chances of expansion along with it. He now has an inner duchy with no borders with foreign lands. That would make his lands more safe, but I don't think Donald Evern is the kind of man who wants to be safe. He also knows this will make his importance to the royal family will see a decline as well in the future, as he no longer holds off Dolliver as he used to. He will just be one more duchy as time goes by. As for now, Donald Evern believes that the royal family still remember his glory and will not allow such a great internal war, and that is why he is trying to test his luck with us. But I believe that with some show of force on our side, I am sure he will realize his position and back off. I didn't meet the guy personally, but I already have a good idea about his personality in mind. He is a dog that will run after any benefit he can get his hands on. When the time comes, he will see that he wouldn't benefit anything if a war erupted between us, and will know how to behave in the future. Well, enough with this conversation. What else can I do to support the family's army? I have fixed the issue of the categorized weapons with the factories. I fixed the issue of providing the army with talismans by opening the academy and training the rune masters. I fixed the size of the army by providing the family with enough money for expanding it. And I fixed the issue of our lack of elite troops and the production of more knights for the family today with the 3 special forces. Is there something that still makes our army less than that of a duke? The room went silent for a while. With everything mentioned, the Burton's army actually needs almost nothing but time. Any one of these factors that Robin mentioned could make the army a force to be reckoned with in any field in the 8 kingdoms, and now Robin asks for more. Caesar was the first to speak. There are 2 things that are missing from the army in particular. The first is the war horses. Strong war horses make a big difference with the cavalry troops. If everything is the same in the 2 armies, the number of war horses is what determines the balance. The second and most important factor is not the crime itself, but the saints. We are so sorely lacking in saints in the family. We can win lands with armies, but we need upper-class figures to keep those lands with peace of mind. I heard from Uncle Billy that you intend to exterminate 2 Marquis families in the incoming war. Well, that wouldn't be happening without powerful saints on our side, very powerful ones. The Patriarch and Mila nodded. This was the best response and the best analysis they could say. Caesar gained a lot of experience while he was with the army last period. Robin nodded proudly. You have a good foresight. It's good that we have the key to both problems right here with us. What do you think of this, Your Highness Prince Alfred? Everyone turned to Alfred, who was sitting in a chair relatively out of sight, and found him with his eyes closed. He looked as if he is in another realm. In fact, he had entered this state since he passed his spiritual sense into the energy cultivation technique scroll, but no one noticed him due to the sensitivity of the topic they were discussing. Alfred, Robin shouted again. What? Who did what? Alfred replied in awe. Your soul must have regained its balance a while ago. Why are you still meditating? You will have enough time later to practice. Now I want you to do something. Of course, no problem. Your Excellency, how can I help you? Alfred regained his calm and asked him. Robin scratched his head after hearing the word Your Excellency again. It's very strange when it comes from a prince. Listen, we want war horses. A lot of them. I want you to mediate for us with your family and close acquaintances. We can buy as much of them as there is as long as the prices are reasonable. Alfred thought for a moment and then replied, War horses are beasts that are difficult to find in nature. They take too much time and resources to reach adulthood, and their females give birth very slowly. All families that have a war horse breed are trying to maintain their purity and increase their numbers. I didn't know of any family that is selling war horses for a business. That is why buying war horses is even more difficult than buying categorized weapons. A family will not sell them unless they need something else that is equal scarcity, and I don't think the nobles would value gold more than their war horses. Oh, is that so? Okay, we'll buy the war horses with a number of runes that is equal to their market value. Is that good enough? Robin rubbed his head and answered. Alfred nodded with a smile. Much better. I can find buyers for you, and the royal family too can contribute a good number of horses. Excellent. The Patriarch shouted. Most of their war horses were killed during the last wars, and most of what they have now has been captured from the Dolliver Wars, yet they only have a little less than 500 war horses. One more thing, Alfred, Robin added. When you get back to your family and talk to them about the horses, tell them that Robin wants to buy the heads of the Tai and Rufus, and the saints and their families that are above level 25. When you know the price, contact me. Alfred was shocked by Robin's words. Your Excellency, you want us to kill the saints of our kingdom? My Uncle Albert wouldn't agree, and certainly, my dad wouldn't agree either. A harsh smile appeared on Robin's face. Everything has a price. Deliver the message to them as it is to your uncle, and he will know what to do. Tell him to speak to me through a sound ring when he thinks of the price. Although the Patriarch had suspected that this would be what he would resort to since he heard about the attack on these 2 families, he nevertheless felt a shiver in his spine when he heard Robin say it. Billy. Robin turned to him. Ahem. What do you want? After you cross the border with General Edward and the Rune Masters and rest assured that everything is in place, I want you to gather all our knights that are at level 19 and 20 of the new lands, and our 3 saints as well. Bring them with you and come back to Jura. During the 4 coming years, the new lands will remain entirely under the Bradley family's administration. What? Why? The rebellion has been largely wiped out, but there are still outposts to deal with. Ask Caesar yourself. Every month he kills a few enemy knights in there. It wouldn't be wise to bring the centers of power and leave it to destiny. Billy objected. Just do it. I want you all to do something extremely important here in Jura. As for the new lands, I have no fear as long as General Edward is there and has the help of our new army. Just be sure to introduce our nobles there to General Edward and command them to obey him before you return. Billy didn't know what to say. Handing over lands this big entirely to the Bradley family doesn't make much sense. Mila happily spoke. Thank you for your trust, Robin. My Uncle Edward won't let you down. I know, Robin smiled and stood up. Everyone, I think everything is in place. For now at least, please do your assigned work, and I'll go back to my own.